Y'all, we have so much going on. I guess it's time for us to get this meeting started. And so it's a pleasure to call this meeting of the mayor and board of aldermen of the city of Natchez to order. I would like to ask you to please stand at this time, and we're going to have a word of prayer, and then together we will repeat our pledge. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this wonderful day you've given us. Each day is a blessing, and we thank you that we can come together tonight to discuss issues that are so important to our city. We thank you for our city. We thank you for all that's going on in our city and all of the opportunity and all of the new investment and the growth. We thank you especially, Lord, for our citizens and those who are committing so much to making Natchez each day a better place to be and a better place to live. Father, we thank you for our freedoms. We know they didn't come lightly. And Father, as we approach this Memorial Day weekend, we have a special prayer for those who have served our country and those who have given of the ultimate sacrifice, understanding, oh Lord, that freedom is never free. And now, Father, as we move forward with our meeting, be with our discussions, our deliberations. Be with those also in our community who are hurting. And Father, just give us your grace and your love. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. Let us now join together in our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. We'll ask the clerk to administer the roll call.
Alderwoman Hall. Here. Alderman Frazier.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith. Here. Alderwoman Irving. Here. Alderman Davis.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, all are present and accounted for.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are going to ask right now for we have a regular agenda, yes, but we have a very exciting announcement that we need to have reported to us at the very beginning. And I would like to ask for a motion to allow, they aren't on our agenda, but we want to allow the representatives from the Downtown Natchez Alliance to speak, including members of the board and Director Mickey Howley, who is here, who has a great announcement.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. And is there any discussion? We'll call for the question. Are there any opposed to the question being called? We'll move then to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Mickey Hawley, you are recognized.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, City Council. We've got some big news from some advocacy work that we've done in Jackson, and that's going to help Mississippi Main Street towns. As you know, your Downtown Natchez Alliance is part of 50 towns in Mississippi and part of 1,200 towns nationwide that specialize in downtown renewal and revitalization. We're part of that program. It's been a program that's been in the United States since the mid-1980s, and it's been fairly successful. This is a new program, however. I want to make special note that what this council did recently, what this administration has done recently, in providing money to Downtown Natchez Alliance, this Main Street program, is the seed money that got this program going. And let me say, it is the leadership money that it has allowed us to go out and get further grants. So this year, we're receiving $100,000 in an ARPA grant. Next year, we'll get an additional $60,000 in an ARPA grant. More importantly, working with our partners in the state and the statewide program, we have a bill that has been signed by the governor, and it will provide up to $500,000 to each and every downtown program, because the state of Mississippi realizes that they need to help our cities. And the best place to help a city is in the heart of a city and to get that downtown going again. So this is the grant. I've given you the handout on it. I've talked with representatives at MDA are working out the nuts and bolts of the grant. Just last week in Jackson, I had a face-to-face with them, and we'll have the particulars on it. But the money is there. It's coming away. It's been signed into law. Again, let me reiterate that this would not have happened if we did not have this leadership money initially from this council and this administration. And we sincerely want to thank you for that.
Great.
Thank you.
May I have some questions?
Yes, Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
Sir, this just enclosed down, that's Main Street itself?
It's going to be funneled through the Downtown Natchez Alliance. It's a Mississippi Main Street program, and it is the downtown district. So it's everything from MLK to the river and what we consider downtown. It's not necessarily Main and Franklin, but it's everything within that district.
Within Mr. Mayor, do you know how many blocks do this cover? You say from Martin Luther King
To the river,
to the river? Okay.
further, yeah.
So anyone that's on a business or anything, they can apply for this money or what?
We don't have exactly the details. The money that we're using the ARPA money for is going towards building facades to awnings. It's essentially a beautification program for the commercial district. Now, the money that we're getting, that we will get and will apply for from the state program can go to other things. It's not necessarily dedicated strictly for beautification. It can be for business enhancement. It can be business incubation. It can be a whole number of projects that will do job creation and build infrastructure in downtown. So again, we don't have the details on it. We do have the governor's signature, however. So and we do have the dollar figures, and we know that's in the works.
So we'll be getting the details at a later date.
Well, it's going to be funneled through the Main Street towns that we know of. There will be a match on it of 20%. So that's something that we have to consider. We don't know the exact particulars on it yet, other than it is for downtown renewal, and it is for fixing the heart of cities in Mississippi, and we are one of those towns in this program.
Thank you so much. Alderman Irving, did you?
I
Yeah.
did. I just wanted the dollar. Was it $500,000?
$500,000, yes. Okay,
Thank
and that's every year.
Oh,
So thank you very much.
is it every year? To what period, time frame?
Well, I don't know what the closing date on it is.
So it was not. That's-
There was not,
Okay.
and so I don't know that detail yet. Right now, it's open-ended. And again, it is a competitive grant, but the money is there, and it's an official bill.
That's great. That's great news.
It really is
Thank
great
you,
news. And we have y'all to thank for that.
Mhm.
We have gone to Jackson and advocated for it, and our legislators on the state level have really helped us with this.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Holly, thank you again, and thank you everyone who is here on behalf of our DNA. This is great news, and it's a great return on the investment, I should say. We look forward to the future. We do. We look forward to the future, and Mickey Holly, we're appreciative of you and your leadership and being here in Natchez. All right, y'all can give them another hand. I should think. Thank you. Now, as always, we have a number of individuals who are here that we are going to recognize, and then we will go to the regular business. But we have some really great young people here who have been serving us in the Mayor's Youth Council, and we are about to honor them. And I'm going to ask Ms. Neepa Hardy, who is our community liaison, to come forward and lead us in this recognition. While she's coming, Mayor's Youth Council was reorganized just a couple years ago, and our first chairman to lead it under this administration is actually here, is a summer worker this summer for the city of Natchez, Mr. Bert Hughes. And Mr. Hughes, if you'll stand. Mr. Hughes freshman year at Southern, and we're very proud of him. And now here we have another class.
University of Southern Mississippi.
And
Mayor.
the University of Southern Mississippi, USM, and we're so proud of it. Ms. Hardy?
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. I wanted to be able to come and recognize the 2022-23 class of the Mayor's Youth Council, and Bert certainly set up a great foundation for me to be able to lead this class this year. And Dustin is back there strolling through some pictures that we've done throughout the year, well, that they've done throughout the year. So from they collected cans for the stew pot in October. They helped with trunk or treat in October. They also did they did the what else did y'all do? And I'm waiting for Dustin to go ahead and go through the pictures. So they also collected items. They work with Catholic Charities. Oh, so that's the trunk or treat. That's all the candy and stuff that they separated for the trunk or treat. They collected items from each of the 4 schools. So all 4 schools are recognized here with AC, Cathedral, NECA, and Natchez High. And in December, they worked with Catholic Charities and they collected items at each of their 4 schools. And that's all the items they collected. And each of the schools had a family that they donated items to be able to help families throughout the year for Christmas, to be able to have a great Christmas. That's the parade. So they participated in the MLK parade in January, and they did the father-daughter dance, mother-son dance, helped with the pajama jam, and they just contributed throughout the year. And they went to the Capitol in March. And I'm just really proud of this group of kids. They planned the activities and they went throughout the year and they worked with their fellow colleagues. They did the library, they did Dr. Seuss, and they did trunk or treat. So they did a lot of stuff throughout the year to be able to help families and kids. So I want to be able to recognize those who are here tonight, because some of the children have already gone on to their senior trip, and Cathedral is having their awards night tonight. So Reagan Rabb, want her to come up, Bennett, Michaela, Evan Barnes, Gerald, Kamari, Destiny, Cedriana, Elena, Adrian, Antoine, Kayla, Takari, Christian, Kirsten, and Lakaya. If y'all can come up and being able to be recognized so everyone can see who you are and actually participated throughout the year. These are your future leaders. And my seniors, I want my seniors to raise their hands. And congratulations. And I just want to say I'm very proud of all of you throughout this year, that y'all have really worked. And I can't wait till next year. And for my seniors, I know you're going to go on and do great things.
I'm going to come down. Do we have the certificates that we need to go ahead and give those out? I just want to say it's been a real pleasure getting to just see you in action this year and hang out with you here and there. We're just so blessed to have you as future leaders in our community. And thank you. And for the seniors, we are going to miss you. We just wish you well in your future endeavors. And so we'll take a picture again, and then we'll just start handing those out. And if I'd like to hand them out. Yeah. I tell you, it is the mayor's youth council. Let's do that. First of all, let's take a picture. And actually, there's a way to do this. Why don't we just do, I'm gonna stand here while I call out your name. And we have first Mr. Hawkins, Denisha Hawkins. I don't know that they're in order. Hey, Mr. Hawkins. We have next here, Nita, is it?
Can I give him a pen?
Sure, okay. Mr. Lawrence Jones. We have here, Reagan Rabb. And we have, Takari Goss.
Yeah, that's right. So she had to work, so she said, yeah.
We're going to give this to. Thank you so much. We have here, let's see, there are a lot. Bennett Gilly. We have Ms. Michaela Patton. We have Evan Barnes. We have Gerald Monroe. Kamari David. We have Destiny. Destiny, your last name is Abby? A day, got it. We have also Cedriana Douglas was. Okay. Is anyone going to see Cedriana? You will? Okay. And then we have Antoine. Elena. And Elena's got one more year. It's good to have a huge Elena. Kyla Campbell. And we got Kristen Reynolds. And Maya. And notice, Maya, you're wearing your Capitol pin from the day we went to the Capitol. I believe, have you given them their Natchez pins? All right. I just want to say, and this is kind of a spoken prayer. May the Lord continue to bless you. May the Lord continue to have his face shine upon you and direct your paths. And may your paths all, as you move forward in life, be evidence of God's gracious plan on you. Because as it says in Jeremiah, he has good plans, plans of good, not of evil, to give you a hope in the future. And so thank you for your service to Natchez this year. Those who are graduating, we're going to miss you. Those who are going to stick around, we're looking forward to that. And I want to thank Alderwoman Hall, who has helped at a number of our events and has been an unofficial assistant to NEPA in making so much of this happen. All right. Alderwoman Hall, why don't you come down and stand with us, because you've been at so many of these events, getting up early to go to Jackson, going to things that I couldn't couldn't attend, and we just appreciate all that you've done. And Nifa, you should be in the picture too. What happened without you?
Get the letter stand in front though. All right, we got it. Here you go.
Yeah, we also have three very special presentations to make. By the way, y'all may be wondering, I need to just say this before we move on. Y'all may be wondering what the bridge is. You know, the city of Natchez has a recycling program, and this is a product of a recycling project representing the Mississippi River bridges at Natchez, Vidalia. And it was completed by a member of the Cathedral High School National Honor Society, Drew Thompson, and his sponsors, Jan Kirkwood, Jennifer Beach. Drew could not be here this evening, but we wanted to display this, and it is a symbol of recycling in our area and taking something that is tossed aside and having a new purpose for it. And we're seeing a picture of Drew right up here. It was constructed of recycled material, mainly cardboard, by Drew. And Tina Montanay asked if the National Honor Society members would consider making a project constructed of recycled material. And Drew jumped at the chance. He decided on something that would represent the city of Natchez, and he chose the Mississippi River Bridge. And this project took him about a month to construct, and it even has cars on the bridge. So,
And a sign that identifies where Louisiana begins on the bridge.
I love that.
Yeah.
It sure does.
Yeah.
It sure does. Yes, Alderwoman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to say his mother works at UMB with me, and she said she was really proud of him all the time he spent doing it. And then she said she is really happy to have that out of her house.
Well, it's great. We're just grateful for it. Now we also have three more very impressive presentations to make. Tomorrow, there will be an official graduation at Merit Health of the Project Search interns. Project Search is a program that has been started in our community that allows very special individuals in our community to provide service to others, very special service at the hospital where so many go through so much, and here these beautiful smiling faces are there to spread comfort, joy, and encouragement. And I want to acknowledge Ronnie Calhoun for being here, who has been the Project Search coordinator and making this happen. Mr. Calhoun, before I come to make these presentations, I would appreciate if you could come and just share a little more about what Project Search has meant to Natchez this past year. And Charm McDowell is also here. I think, Charm, you've been a part of this program.
Yeah, she's coordinator.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we may want Charm to come as well.
She's looking. Yeah, without Charm, we wouldn't be able to do what we've done this year. And we also have Miss Brandy Nichols, who is one of our state directors from Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services here too. She just happened to be in town early for the graduation tomorrow, so she came out. She was amazed that this is happening tonight. But Project Search is started at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and now it's in 48 states and 10 countries. And what it does is it takes individuals ages 18 to 21 with any type of disability, and we teach them job skills. and it's a year-long program. It's coordinated between Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services, Natchez Adams School District, and a host site, which is Merritt Hospital. And so we started back in August. This is our first year, and it's just been an amazing ride. It's been amazing to be a part of it and to see their growth throughout the year. We've got 3 individuals y'all will meet in a minute, but to say that we're proud of them, there's no words to say how proud of them that we are. And they will all be working. They will all be contributing to society, and they'll all be earning their own paychecks. So, John, what would you like to say? I've never seen Charm at a loss for words yet.
I knew nothing about Project Search this time last year. And I was recruited into this, and I came out of 5 years of retirement, and I was happily retired. But God has a funny way of placing you where you need to be, even though you don't know where you need to be. And my place, I have no doubt that I was placed at Merit Health in Project Search for the right reasons, and I have not regretted not one day. They say that if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, and that was the way I felt for 40 years at Natchez Adams School District, and it's the way I feel now with Project Search. It is such a rewarding project, and it's such a rewarding job, and we
Can't cry till tomorrow.
I have a picture of myself shaking hands with Nathan. Raise your hand, Nathan. The first day I met Nathan, Ronnie took a picture of me shaking his hand like this, and I have a picture of the end of the year where we're embraced, and we have become a family over the year, and we're just so proud that these guys will be graduating and moving on to employment.
And back in August, me and her looked like David Hasselhoff and Pamela Anderson off of Baywatch, and they wore us down. So it's been a great year. It's been a wonderful year, and thank y'all for having them out tonight to recognize them. They've earned this honor. Trust me. Thank y'all.
Mr. Mayor, I will be speaking at their graduation tomorrow.
Yes, yes.
Oh, and explain why Alderwoman Hall will be there, her special connection.
Yes, that's right. You were there with your mother throughout a lot of this year, and you got to see our interns in action. And you worked in this field for many years, and that's how we originally knew each other. But Alderwoman Hall, she got to see our interns in the hospital working. She ate lunch with us several times. She's got a very good connection with them, and we're thankful to have you speaking at our graduation tomorrow.
Since he was a little boy.
That's right. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
And as we make these presentations, I'd like to invite our Board of Aldermen to come and stand here. So that we're going to have them come one at a time, and when all 3 are here, we'll take a picture all together. But before we do this, I would love for the Aldermen to come and stand with us as we make this presentation. This is a big deal. It is.
A big deal. Makes a difference in your lives.
Amen. And in the lives of all of us. And I actually have an older brother who is a very special individual who is responsible, I think, for the person I am, the good part of it at least. And I know I would not be who I am today if it were not for my older brother. And I get a little choked up talking about him. And his name is Bob, and I grew up as Bob's brother. I had to fight for my own identity. Everywhere I went, I was Bob's brother. And, I tell you, just such a blessing God gives us when he gives us individuals like the ones that I'm about to introduce. Certificate of recognition. Now, Charm, I'm the one. Certificate of recognition is presented to Patrick Davis in recognition and appreciation of your great accomplishments and graduation from the Project Search program. Your mayor and board of aldermen are proud of you. And witness, my signature is here to affix, awarded this 23rd day of May, 2023. Patrick, we celebrate you today. And we're going to have this where you can hold it so that everyone can see it while we wait for the others to come. You stand right there, all right? And alderpersons, make sure they can see you around Patrick. And I'm gonna tell you, if I'm ever out there and I need somebody to have my back, I want Patrick on my team. This certificate is presented to Chloe Hodgson in recognition of graduation from the Project Search program. I'm so proud of you, Chloe. Your mayor and board of aldermen are indeed proud of you. And one more, last but not least. And it's been so nice being out there and seeing y'all. And I remember the first time I was out there and met this young man, I thought, what a good handshake. This certificate is presented to Nathan Goday in recognition and appreciation of your great accomplishments and graduation from the Project Search program. Now I'm going to take off my glasses. They need windshield wipers.
All right, here we go. Alderwoman Holly, there you go. Perfect. I think we got you. Everybody's in. Perfect. Right here, guys. Awesome. Thank you.
And I want to ask, do any of y'all have anything you want to say? Thank you.
Oh, come on in. You can just say something. It's up here.
You want to say something? Want to say something? No, you want to say something?
You want me to the mic?
Nathan wants to say something.
Say anything you
It's
want
their
to say.
graduation.
Say anything you want to say.
Thank you. Thank Houston's and Wani and Cahoon and Houston's. Thank you. Here's you. Wani, Cahoon. Thank you. Bye.
You make me cry, bro.
Exactly.
Okay,
I gotta
thank you.
get some hugs. Chloe.
I just want to say, Mr. Mayor, allow me to say this. This is such an honor and a privilege to see such a program such as this that's taking place. Many years ago, this would not have been possible. But I do know firsthand that it impacts the lives of these young people here. It enhances the quality of life for them as well, for them to gain some independence, for them to build self-esteem and confidence. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so it delights my heart to see this tonight come to fruition. I too have a special child, not to that degree. However, it could have very well been me, but I watched many other members of my community, many members that I graduated with needed this, and it was not afforded at that time. So it's truly a blessing to have them here tonight. And Mayor, Ms. Hall, and everyone that makes up this, and one of the best people that I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
Normally, I would jump in there if you're gonna be honest with you, but I want to say this to you. I have a very special place in my heart for y'all, for dealing with children with disabilities. I also too have one, but not as severe. This is dear to my heart and dear to the community. We need more emphasis on these kids and what you can do for them. We need more emphasis on programs in school to help these kids. We don't have it here. And it's never up to us to provide service to these kids. And it's to me, like I say, I am just so happy just to see them come up here to be able to express themselves and just see the look on his face. And it's like I say, doing me all the good in the world, say, like I say, I don't understand, but I got to give y'all the utmost respect to each and every one of y'all. Matter of fact, I need to give everyone in here all the respect in the world because you're here. You see what we're dealing with in the community. You see these kids, they have a bright future.
Absolutely.
They have a bright
Amen.
future. That's because they have disabilities. That don't mean that they can't function in society.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You don't take pride anymore. And she said, you know, from that day, I respected you as a mother.
Everybody online wants to see. People watching you online.
My name is Patrick Davis, and I'm Patrick's dad. And I want to say to what they had to say for years when he got ready to graduate. I had no clue what I was going to do with my son. I didn't want to put him in the work world and didn't know what the result was going to be, knowing his condition. And I just want to say that this it saved my son. It saved me as a father being stressed, trying to wonder what. The city didn't have anything. They didn't have anything. And when my son went in, the way he's sitting up there smiling with his head up, before he went in, his head was down. He wouldn't talk to nobody. I didn't know. I didn't want to throw him out there, and he was going to fail. But this Project Search, right now, I can't get my son to stop talking. I'm talking. We used to have family events. He'll go in the room and hide away from everybody, wouldn't talk. Now we go to family events, my family looking at him like, man, is he going to ever be quiet? So, and he talks about Project Search. I had the privilege of meeting Chloe and Nathan, and they are family. You know, when I show up, PJ talks about him all the time, and Charm, and whoever came up with the idea. My son graduated. I actually sent him back to school to be in my class to try to give him something. But I appreciate whoever involved with this, because raising a special needs child is difficult, because you want them to have the same opportunities as the regular children or child. But it made a difference with my son.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it made a difference. I just want to say that.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Davis, you are absolutely correct, because when I first met Patrick, he was very shy. And even at lunch, he would like to sit by himself, and he gradually joined the circle. So the growth is monumental for all of them, all of them.
It really is.
And Nathan was always a big hugger. And he's learned to fist bump and shake hands. They're all adults now. Chloe, shy, come out of her shell too.
Live streaming, I got my family looking on.
Now, as the old saying goes, if that doesn't light your fire, then your wood must be soaking wet and floating out in the river somewhere. Also, we have to recognize some really amazing people before we go any further, and it's been reminded to me by Alderman Davis that they have somewhere they've got to go. Alderman Davis, to make this introduction, I want to turn it over to you as chairman of the fire department committee.
The fire chief, and we want to introduce all our new firefighters that we recently hired. And we want to bring them up and introduce them to the board and the city of Natchez.
Awesome. Wonderful.
So,
I'm kind of sick.
good evening, everyone. I just want to briefly introduce our newest recruit class. So right now we have a few that have been with us for a little bit and 3 that this is their second day on the job.
Wow.
So right now they are all going through what we call Candidate Week. Candidate Week is our way of introducing them to the academy and teaching them things that they're going to need to know in their job. During Candidate Week, this is a military boot camp. I won't say what I want to say. This is a military boot camp for them. So they're learning a lot and working very, very hard. Our Candidate Week takes place at our training facility, spearheaded by none other than our training chief, Vitagare, over here. He's doing a great job teaching them and getting them ready. So I'm gonna have to read their names off because I hadn't been. They're all new. So we have Joshua Bruce, Michael Hunt, Miss Jamisha Queen, Benjamin Strouder, Derek Winston, and James Wood. So all of these guys are getting ready to go through their Candidate Week. We will be sending them off to the academy as soon as possible, and they will be the next line of firefighters on our front line. So welcome to the team.
I want to start by checking every hand.
Oh, sure.
I want to tell you, we never know, when we're going to need the services of our first responders. And this is an appropriate time as we approach Memorial Day weekend to remember those who willingly serve us, and they do it willingly. And they don't get enough recognition. And I just want to send a thank you to all of our active firefighters, police officers, first responders, and I want to include, of course, our veterans, but I also want to include our public works crew members who are sometimes out there in very difficult conditions. We just couldn't do this without you. We have your back because we know you certainly will have ours. May God bless you.
Since you have their backs, can we get behind them? That's perfect.
You can see me back here. I say, even with the step up, I may be too short.
Oh, you're good. I got you. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you.
Dismissed.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Arrington. Appreciate the job you do. Chief, Chief Hilder, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have some individuals who have asked to address the board tonight. And, you know, as it is, when you call to get on the board agenda, you are allowed to be on the agenda and given a 5-minute time period to make a presentation. I'd like at this time to recognize and invite to the podium Ms. Clarice Martin and Dr. Brenda Johnson Moore, who are here representing the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. Ms. Martin and Dr. Johnson Moore, welcome. Good to see you.
Good evening, Mayor, along with the entire board.
Good evening.
I'm Clarice Martin, President of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. And joining me will be Dr. Brenda Johnson Moore, who is the first Vice President of the coalition as well. We are here along with my sisters that's sitting back there also. I'm having them stay at the end of my presentation. We're here because we are the Southwest Mississippi chapter of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, representing the headquarters of the Angelated House at 180 St. Catherine Street. We come before this board because in 2017, we met with you all and you all granted us permission to lease the building for another 10 years. Based upon that, in your minutes, it shows that you voted unanimously, but we still have not received a copy of the lease, not a signed copy. I had 3 blank ones, but we still have not. I have submitted 2 and still have not gotten a signed copy. The next thing on it was that Mayor met with us, Mayor Gibson, Mr. Johnston, along with another gentleman, met with us and asked us to meet him at the Angelated home. We did. And there, along with Dr. Moore, we did a tour of the building. And he asked us to present to him and send to him the list of repairs and things that we needed done there at the Angelated house. The first concern we had when he met with us was that the awnings was falling off the building and we were picking them up, taking them indoor. In the process, we had picked up quite a few and it was indoor. Now the building is almost totally disaster. It's a historical place. Okay, it's a historical place. And therefore, I feel, you know, being the Angelated home on St. Catherine Street, it should not be. The first thing that took place, the ice storm came through. We had damage to the roof. They put tar up there, the tar is gone. Now it's raining just unedible down through the first floor. Since the awnings are off the front of the building, now the rain blows in and all of those walls have mold and mildew. And going there, walking through it last week, you know, you can't go in without your mask on. You cannot go in without your gloves. Mold, mildew is health hazards. Okay. From there, I did bring the list again of the items that we had, concerns that we did have. One of the 2 major things that hurt our feelings was on the back, we showed where our ramp, handicap ramp, was getting ready to just go to waste. And we asked, could that be repaired with little or nothing? And we was told yes, but now you cannot. And really, they need to yellow tape it because if we was to take a wheelchair up there, all of us would be on the ground. The wheelchair, the person, and the person that's pushing. Okay, so with that being said, the handicap ramp is totally out of existence. Next, on the backside of the same building, down bottom, there's a homeless person in the area or vicinity somewhere, but they're sleeping or doing something underneath of there, but it's more like they camp out there. And we asked, could that be boarded up because we don't want them to light a candle or something and burn the building down when it's a historical site. So again, those things, none of that has been touched, being vamped on. But what I'm concerned with is when we first appeared, there was $500 in this budget that was allocated to do some repair. I seen nothing with that 500. Then we was told 2,500 was being allocated for the building and put into the budget or some of that matter. But needless to say, regardless what was allocated or put into your budget, we have not seen any results. That we would like to see some type of result. I also wanted to bring Beautician about it, is that speaking with the attorney in September of 21, he assured me without a doubt, and I'm seeing tonight he's not here, somebody else is, sitting in, but he assured me within 2 weeks I would have that copy. Miss Pam, and I'm pretty sure she's tired of me, calling her consistently, and she started sending me the emails back over where she's sending the emails and stuff over to the attorney, asking for the same thing. Do you have a copy? Can you respond? And it's no respond. So I'm trying to figure out what is going on. Is there something wrong with us, or is there something wrong with communication? I don't know where the ball has failed. And with this board here, and this board was the board that told me that we could have the building leased back. What is your word? We're here for your word.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
let me say this to you and the rest of the ladies. Alderwoman Irvin been clamoring about this building, the Angeletta House, for over 2 years now. And we looked into it, but I'm just gonna be honest with you. The city been dragging their feet on this project because she have been brought it up and everything else. So I guess we as a board, we had to get together and do something about that building. As you say, it is a city building and it is a historical building. But I'm not gonna sit up there and fool the public and just lie to the public. We have been dragging our feet about that building. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Irvin.
Thank you. I just want to go back. I took a few notes, and I want to begin with Ms. Martin asking for the lease in September 2021. And I was standing in close proximity of the attorney when that had taken place. So he assured her that the copy would be signed and given to her. That has never taken place. The other thing that I want to address is that I had asked, and the board, and thank you all for it in advance because you had approved it, $25,000 had been allocated for this year. Now, I did take a tour again with Mr. Rutter. He and I and Mr. Carter Burns had taken a tour through the building, and we noticed that there is more damage. And I have questioned, why is it that we can't place a tarp on the building? I also want to say, not only is it a concern for you all, but as tourists, and I'm in that park often up there, they're saying, why is it that the city is allowing a historic site to go to ruins? That's what those words. That is something that we should be focusing on. Mr. Roy Hill is working with Ms. Mimi Miller and Mr. Carter Burns and Mrs. Kathleen Bonds. And we found a grant. Okay, I didn't know if you had
We met
been
with
there,
him
but
last week, and a member of my staff toured the house with Mr. Hill today.
okay. So, and I'm asking because we need a resolution tonight, not to come back and put them off, saying that we got to wait 2 more weeks. We have an attorney who's sitting in, who's filling the obligations of our attorney that's not here. And so I want to ask, is there to resolve this tonight about okaying the lease for them to go in so that they can at least put some life to a building? When there's no life in a building, it will continue to go to ruins. There's some things that they can go in and get done with the $25,000. And so, and them having their meetings there, I don't think it will be a liability because they are going in the front of the building. The back of the building has been identified that you can't use it to enter the building, but you still have access to it. And so having limited no use for that space that's there, then it will continue to go to ruins. Now they can get in and get some cleaning up done. They can start with possibly treating the mold that's in the building. There are a number of things that they can get in and get done. I've seen the kitchen space, Ms. Martin. All of those kinds of things can be saved. With no use in that building, it continues to go to ruins. So I'm asking this board tonight, let's make a vote that we get the contract that has already been put in place. Our Mayor Pro Tem, I'm hoping that you will consider that as well to go in and get this because they've been to us over 2 years trying to get that lease. And it's been procrastination. As she come in and speak with the board attorney, it's been numerous of calls. I'm getting that feedback, the dates that they called. I have those kinds of things documented. Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderwoman Smith is
No,
recognized.
I feel like at this point, I'm assuming there's the lease is lost. We need to maybe start. I mean, the city.
No, there's a copy of it. I mean, the attorney, Attorney Calway.
He does.
He does. He has
We
the
can
lease.
make a list.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
if there's some reason, we can also do a new lease if we need to for the remainder of your term there. So,
Mr.
I mean, I have no problem with that. And then, do you have the 25,000? Is it on the budget with the 25,000?
I don't know the exact amount.
It was 25. It's in the budget. I can find it
We did
here.
budget a substantial.
I'll
figure.
find
I
it.
need to, it's definitely, I need to get the handicap ramp fixed right away and the roof repaired, so there's no more.
And like I said, the kitchen inside.
I will say that I checked my ledger and we had no contact from 100 Black Women in 2 years.
No.
We did meet last week.
Last
My
year was,
office, I
last year
didn't-
was the only year that you did not get in
I just
contact because
looked
I was
back
in
on
bed
our meeting
sick.
log, and we did meet with you last week when you reached out for a meeting, but it had been 2 years. And we're looking into
Been 2
that.
years.
Alderwoman Hall, I'll
Yes,
recognize you.
yes. Ms. Martin, until we can get the repairs done at the building, the youth center, the North Natchez building is gonna be an operation next month, and y'all can meet there until you can get back into the Angeletti house.
Okay, what we have been doing, we've been doing conference calls and we've been doing webinars, Zoom to one another. And we've been doing our monthly meetings because we couldn't go in the building. And I would not allow them to meet me there. Once I went in myself, being president and viewed, I would not ask any of those ladies to enter because they had family members at home, some sick and all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, until you can get back into that building, the youth center will be available next
Okay.
month for you all to meet in.
Okay.
It sure will.
Right.
Also, I do want to say, just for the record,
It's been
everyone-
renovated.
Everyone will remember, we attempted to include the Angeletti House in the raise grant application that was submitted at the end of February. And sadly, our engineer said that renovation of buildings didn't qualify under the raise grant. Since then, we've been looking at other grants, but I am very grateful to Mr. Royal Hill for reaching out to us. And there are a number of things that were discussed last week that we do need to have further discussion on before we can really speak publicly about that. I don't like talking about things unless I'm really sure. You know, I'm hopeful that there could be some opportunity there. And since then, just over the past week, not only did we have that initial meeting, but then we had another follow-up meeting. My staff met with Mr. Hill last week and then again today on site. And so we will look at this and let's just make a report and do what we can. The 25,000 was budgeted and we all supported that. And it was budgeted so that it could be some seed funds for possible matches on other grants. That was part of our discussion. But also there are other opportunities. The roof leaking, I have to say this meeting, even when we met last week, we didn't get into the full explanation of that, but I do know that it was looked at today. Just a precursory look. We'll look at it more. So obviously we have some work to do. Let's get busy and see what we can figure out.
On the roof, before you want to speak, I wanted to make a correction to that. In 2020, when we had the ice storm and when the roof first went to bleed, we came to you all and you all sent the city or somebody out, the county, somebody out, and you all had a blue tarp up there.
That was in
aiding
February of
us.
2021. We had that ice storm, and I do remember that.
Yeah, y'all put the tarp up for us.
Didn't realize the tarp was no longer there. Until,
Mm-mm.
I've said it over and over again.
thank you very much, Ms.
Okay.
Martin, and thank you, Dr. Moore, and thank
Okay.
you, ladies who are here. Another thing that we wanted to ascertain is it was spoken that you hadn't met sometime since COVID. I'm glad to see that you are back meeting, and it would be
Never stop.
very good to know,
Okay.
you know, more about your organization and what you're doing in our community. And I'm available to meet with you anytime, as we met
Okay.
last week.
Okay, but we never stopped meeting. We continued because we had to continue. That was our obligation
What is the mission of the organization?
to enhance Black women, young adults, and to promoting them self-esteem and moving forward with life.
All right. Alderwoman Irving.
I want to make a motion that we employ the attorney to retrieve the lease from our attorney, and so that at our next board meeting, we can bring that forward. I want to make a motion with that.
Okay, the motion has been made by Alderwoman Irving to ask the attorney to look into this and report to us next board meeting. Alderman Frazier has seconded that motion. Do we have any discussion? Okay, call for the question. Any opposed to the call? We'll proceed to a vote. First of all, there's no one opposed to the call. Okay, we'll have a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, we would like to thank you all
Thank
for
you.
having the opportunity to come forward and speak to you all on the behalf of St. Catherine Angelette Home and the Southwest Mississippi chapter of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women.
Thank you.
Ms. Martin, if you don't want to meet there, just get in touch with our recreation department. They can,
Okay,
okay.
Give me your contact, like
okay. Oh,
email or something like that, or card.
Okay. Thank you so much. Ms. Rebecca Owens had to cancel, unfortunately, and we will reschedule her for another time. We also, before we do that, we have, let's go ahead and have approval of minutes. We will do that. Madam Clerk, you're recognized.
First set of minutes, the special call meeting held on April 25th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
That special call meeting, I wasn't a part of it. It was done with haste, and I wasn't a part of it.
Okay, let the record state Alderman Frazier's comments.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I just want to read something, and it was done, had to be, because I see an employee number here, but can we get an explanation? Is it a grant of $250? Can we elaborate on any of that? I know it was probably done in
Sorry,
executive session.
We will have an executive session
Okay,
today, and we
okay.
can certainly answer your
Okay,
questions with
okay,
regard to that.
Okay, all right.
Certainly. Any further discussion?
Call the question.
Okay, the question has been called, seconded. Do we have any opposed to the call?
Yes, and objection, nay vote.
The call to the question is a call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
And so now we'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
Nay.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
But I do want to say this, Mr. Mayor, I was not here, and so I just wanted, and it has been identified on here that I was not present.
Okay, thank you. And then Alderman Davis?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Next item would be request for approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled board meeting held on April 25th.
All right, it was a pleasure.
So
of the
move
board.
with the approval of the attorney.
All right, motion made by Alderwoman Hall, specifying with the approval of the attorney, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. Question's been called. Any second? Any opposed to the call? We'll proceed then to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next item, we will now, again, we have certain individuals here, no reason to hold them all night. So we're going to ask for the VFW lease to be brought forward. As you know, several meetings ago, the board voted to
Mayor,
continue. Yes.
You got to exclude yourself.
And yes, Alderman Davis is going to have to recuse himself from this discussion, being that he is a member of the VFW. And Alderman Davis, we appreciate your service. We'll let you know when the discussion has ended. And so this is actually found on my report, but we're bringing it forward. So several months ago, this board voted to continue our relationship with the VFW, but at a different location. The VFW for many years has enjoyed a use and arrangement there at the building, brick building there on a parcel of land adjacent to Walmart. That property is now for sale, requiring them to have a new home. They perform many services to our community and to our veterans, and we want to continue supporting our VFW at the canteen building at Duncan Park. The attorney has been working on an agreement, and we need to go ahead now. The agreement stipulates everything that was discussed in our prior meeting, all of the points. And so we're going to now recognize the attorney to discuss more about the agreement. And Mr. John Floyd is here, who is the commander of the VFW. And I want to say thank you for your service, Mr. Floyd. And this week it's appropriate we do this just a few days before Memorial Day. Mr. Slover, I'm going to recognize you at this time.
One of these things we had to get worked out before the meeting. We went ahead and organized y'all for as a nonprofit corporation when you're doing a lease, the nature of the donation, you guys are going to do a bona fide nonprofit corporation. Maybe you are one. I could not find one on the Secretary of State's office. Doesn't matter. You're incorporated now. So the lease terms that I was aware of, I will go through them all. If there's something that I missed, we can add it on. I can run across the street and print it off again. This is just for the interior of the canteen. The exterior parking lot, Mansion of Auburn, or for the park itself. All that stuff is excluded out of this leasehold. It's just the interior of the building.
We don't get the whole park?
You can't get the entire park.
Okay.
Being a lawyer, you get also included is any equipment that was left in the facility by the city. That's part of the leasehold. The lease term shall expire at the end of this current board's term of office. However, it will continue after on a month-to-month basis. That's not binding, but that's just how the operation of law works. Mm-hmm. After the end of the term, the new board can void any agreement they don't want to. There's no rental payments in here. However, y'all are agreeing to maintain the facility and keep it in the same condition or better. Cities have the right to enter the facility at any time for any purpose. You recognize
that's the interior of the building, correct?
What's that?
The interior part of the building?
That's the interior. They can come in and take a look around or whatever. Hopefully they won't bother you too much. There's a common provision that goes into all of our contracts about this is a public organization. There's certain things they can't agree to. Probably has nothing to do with this agreement, but the boilerplate's what we call them, put them in there. This is governed exclusively in the state of Mississippi. There is no agreement. Any type of additions or addendums, any other side agreements you do or whatever, they're not binding against the city unless you come back before the board and it's duly approved. So if the mayor promises you X, Y, Z, it's not binding against that city unless you come back. Mm-hmm. These are provisions in any contract. You may sublet the facility for short-term events. The typical price is $300 a day. You may not discriminate on the basis of any sex, creed, color, race, national origin, or gender. You're going to maintain a liability insurance policy of $1 million aggregate, $500,000 per incident. I didn't know exactly what your insurance was, but typically if it's $1 million aggregate, it's half of that, for instance.
Yeah, we do have $1 million on the building that we're all located in now.
Right. The city may adopt at any time any reasonable restrictions on the property. They may do that particular to this building, or they may enter an ordinance for the buildings as a whole. You're bound by them either way. There are elections that the city and county and or state are having. You are agreeing to allow those elections to happen at the canteen.
Of course.
And those entities are getting pretty broad flexibility to go in there as needed and install their stuff. Usually it's the day before they install it and then they're out the next day. But whatever they need to go do, you're allowing them to do. And y'all are responsible for the cost of utilities.
Roger that, no problem.
Yes, good job, Mr. Slover. I think that covers everything. Alderwoman
I
Smith?
just wanted to clarify on the subletting with the $300 revenue, does that go to them or to the city?
They keep that amount of money. That helps fund their organization and put that together. So the idea is we're allowing them to do that, but we're also not allowing them to charge $3,000 an event. You want this event, the place to be seen and used and all that. That's a good thing. We want to be fair to everybody. And so
And that allows them then to perform the needed maintenance and upkeep of the building.
Right.
And utilities.
And the
Right.
insurance. That's
Mr.
correct.
Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Fraser.
let me say this. We deserve more than that building. I wish I could give you a better building. And I just like to say, to everyone here in Beverly, I thank y'all and DFW, y'all have done a great job in the community and reaching out to the community. And I do appreciate it, because I am also a veteran. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this a contract with the VFW.
So moved.
Thank you. Alderman Fraser has made that motion and Alderwoman Hall has seconded that motion.
the motion is to adopt a resolution.
Resolution, yes, resolution.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Let me reiterate that we adopt this
You
resolution.
want me to that?
Okay.
Can I ask a question there?
Yes, sir.
I noticed during this last rain that the roof is leaking real bad and, is there something gonna be done with that?
Yes, I would like to speak to that. We actually are right now working on plans to renovate the exterior. As you know, that was included in a bond the city issued. And we are looking at,
Roger.
because the building is not in that bad condition.
No,
It just basically needs a very basic standard roof and it needs repainting and just some other general repairs. And also, we are right now about to have a new compressor installed in one unit so that the air conditioning can be functioning for election day. There's an election there this week on the 25th, which is Thursday. But also that will keep the AC going. But at some point in the future, I believe replacement of both units is recommended and the city's working on that also.
Okay. And, we discussed this topic, when he called me about this earlier today, the kitchen, we do have to have a kitchen to cook and prepare meals and, how are we going to go about doing that?
There is a kitchen there that is existing.
Downstairs?
And it's actually on the main level, just back behind. And you are welcome to use that kitchen. I think one reason that we're not charging you rent is we understand at some point you might want to modify and improve the kitchen, move the kitchen. Also, it's very important that it be understood that this applies only to the portion that is the canteen. It's a little confusing because this building also attaches to the old dairy that is part of Auburn. And that at some point in the future, possibly another couple of years, that the Historic Natchez Foundation has expressed an interest in obtaining funding to restore the old dairy, which would take away some of the rooms that you're now able to use and require some reconfiguration.
Yeah.
Under the lease agreement, since we're not charging you rent, those interior accommodations changes, you would very likely be responsible for. I don't know, that is one thing we may want to add to the lease, is that the lease exempts that area known as the Auburn Dairy, because we are not able to lease that area.
Isn't that where the kitchen's located?
Agreement. I think the kitchen touches upon it.
Yeah.
But it's my understanding the Historic Natchez Foundation doesn't intend to pursue that for at least another 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall, your second stands to the resolution, correct?
She did.
Alderwoman Hall seconded the motion.
She's already amended it. Oh.
And Alderwoman Hall, your second still stands, does it not? It's a resolution. He just clarified, as the city attorney
That's
said.
what Alderman Fraser did.
Yes, and your second still stands.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was a clarification, really.
Yeah.
So we're good. Just to get in legal terms, as the attorney suggested. Anything else we need to discuss?
Call the question.
I will say this, before we call the question, I would like a motion to amend or perhaps, Alderman Fraser, since this is your motion, just a friendly amendment that, a verse be included, that's the musician in me, a verse, that it be included that would exclude the dairy. That's what you were saying. I didn't, thank you. I'm a little slow tonight. Alderman Fraser, is that?
I like to amend that motion that is, that also includes exclude the dairy portion.
And so Alderwoman Hall, are you fine? Your second still stands. So the author of the motion has now just offered that as an amendment to his own motion. All right, Mr. Floyd?
We do get to use the restrooms, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You
That's
do.
the second most important
Just
thing.
understand there is a portion of the restroom.
Yeah.
That's in that footprint of the old dairy. It's
Yeah,
very
that's-
clear. Basically anything that has
Yeah.
the brick walls, back in that back area.
So.
All right.
Ms. Mayor, let me just ask a question.
Alderwoman
pertaining to
Irvin?
that. So when that does take place, they're able to modify the building so that they can do an addition themselves. Okay, just
Yes.
want clarity. Because if it's restroom, a building has to have a bathroom.
Yeah.
So just looking out to say, if they're gonna modify, if that's gonna be excluded, then.
Yeah, that was the concern about with the dairy part being, all that being separated. Was that going to take it away from us where we'd had to put a kitchen and bathrooms in? You know, we had that discussion. So we just want to know and plan for that. And hopefully this,
I would encourage you to get back with the city.
Yeah.
Prior to expending a lot of money.
and hopefully we spend 30 to 50 years here and continue our mission. And I need to see you because we want to honor you for giving us the opportunity.
Oh, well, it's not just me, it's this board.
Her, not you.
Her?
It was her motion, I believe.
I'm gonna tell you this, listen, well, I thought he was pointing at me, I don't have my glasses on, let me take my glasses, because I wanted to say, I'm just so grateful that this is happening. Yes, Alderwoman Smith actually, saw this, as did Alderwoman Hall, as a solution, early on, and I'm so grateful for it. Also, I did want to say this, Mr. Attorney, I just have this question. In the future, when they are making any changes, modifications physically, I believe they would need to inform the city of that.
Yeah, he told me that as well.
That is understood in the lease, correct?
Yeah.
For reasons, the bid laws have changed so that you can't put in writing, giving them permission to do something. It creates liability
I
for
understand.
the property.
Right.
Yeah, we won't do any other constructions no, we'll do repair work because there's a lot of repair in that one little office room we got to do. And so get that door where it'll open up. But that type stuff, we'll get to work on that.
All right, yeah, 10 years ago, you could put that kind of stuff in there, but now.
That's why it's good to have a city attorney on staff here. I want to also, I do want to say this, you said we can't discriminate, and that includes handicapped individuals. Being a public building and being available to the public, handicap access will always be provided there. And just want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah, you had to come in through the back door, that's where the present wheelchair ramp is.
All right, I will call for the question.
Call.
Okay. Second, anyone opposed to the call? Then we will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Get back in here, Ben.
All right. Yes, let's let Alderman Davis know he can come in. And I want to thank Alderman Frazier for his motion. Being a veteran, it was appropriate that he make the motion. And also want to thank our two veterans, Alderman Frazier and Alderman Davis, for their service.
Once we get in and get established, we will have an open house and, invite the public. We thought cook pot is jambalaya.
Thank you. Good,
We got a
good.
big cook pot.
Also, I want to say this has to be said. We are in the process of moving some furniture, various places that was being stored there. But it's not furniture of great, value, but we have encouraged our department heads to check it out. I want to say by the end of this week, if you haven't identified furniture that you need and you've arranged for it to be moved, then anything that's in there, it'll just transfer over to the VFW and they can use it, do with it whatever they wish. And I think that's included in the equipment, or do we need to actually have any official surplus made of any furniture that is left in that building? Because anything's left, it basically means the city doesn't have any use for it.
Yeah, the resolution will include language that declares it all surplus.
Okay, all right, so we're good to
Some of
go.
the park mowing equipment and weed eaters and a lot of that equipment. That doesn't include in that.
The department is moving that. I understand that that's all being moved.
So with any of that usable material, the weed eaters, lawnmowers?
All that's being moved. It's being moved to another location.
Okay.
Yes. The Department of
Wait,
Parks and Recreation.
Mr. Mayor,
has been working on that.
before any furniture's left, that any department heads get a chance to look and see if they
We
want
have
anything?
given them until Friday to go and see and move anything that they want. Because anything the city wants needs to be out by Friday, because I believe you're
We
going to
underst-
start over the course of the Memorial Day weekend. Is that
Yes,
correct?
we want to start getting moving in. We're doing a Buddy Poppy drive at Walmart Saturday, which
Yeah.
we do that every year, it's a fundraiser for a local veteran.
Yeah.
And then, we were gonna have a flag retirement Monday, but due to everything, so much going on this weekend, it's gonna be pretty hard on us. I just had a knee surgery, replaced it 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I can't push a whole lot on it,
Yes.
but, we will hopefully be wide open, guaranteed by 4th of July.
Great.
But we do want to start moving in, cleaning up. And when do we get this contract?
Yeah, I was thinking I might could email it to John over there because I've got his email readily available, if that's okay.
All right.
Has he got your contact and everything?
What do you say?
All right.
Okay.
We'll let y'all work those
That's okay.
details out and we'll go ahead and get it signed. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to now return to our agenda, and we're going to ask Mr. James Johnston to come forward. Also, while he's coming forward, thank you. I want to acknowledge that we have Devin Heath here, who is the Executive Director of Visit Natchez. Mr. Heath has expressed a desire to begin attending our board meetings in person, and thank you for that, Mr. Heath. We thank you for the great job you're doing at Visit Natchez. And just wanted that said. Also, Mr. Heath is here, whenever a question regarding Visit Natchez tourism should arise, it'll be good to have Mr. Heath here at our meetings. Thank you. Mr. Johnston, you're recognized.
Evening, Mayor and Board. I did provide you with a draft copy of my report for your packet. I did make slight changes to the report, which can be seen on the AV screen. 2022 capital improvements general bond issue. Staff, in concert with Wakehouse and Associates, is requesting a motion to advertise for construction of the proposed scopes of work at the Natchez Police Department, Natchez Civic Center, and Natchez Police Department. A summary of the proposed scopes of work is as follows. And you see the breakdown for the police department, which has a base bid and 2 alternates. I do want to make point out a correction. Base bid for the PD, it should properly read renovate one existing toilet, i.e. bathroom, off executive office waiting room. And that is part of the base bid. And that building also has 2 add alternates. And that, means that they will be bid, though on the same bid sheet separately. If the funds do not go far enough, they can be excluded from being accepted.
All right. Thank you. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Mayor,
So moved.
Yes, Alderman Fraser, you're.
I have,
welcome.
I discussed this with,
We have to have a
We have to have the
motion.
motion.
We have to have a
go on, have a
motion
mo-
first.
go on with the motion.
Second.
Alderwoman Hall has made the motion and Alderwoman Irving has seconded the motion to move forward as the report has suggested and staff has recommended. Now, Alderman Fraser, you're recognized.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if everyone is just familiar with that building and stuff. Some of these add-on alternate, and I discussed that with James. And the add-on alternate number 2, the renovation of administrative suite, add a toilet in the chief's office. That's a waste of money. I can't see where we need to put a toilet in the chief office when you walk out the chief office and he got a bathroom right there. And the board can take this under consideration, but I just can't see we wasting that kind of money. Everything else on here, I'm on board with it, but that's the only thing I'm not on board with. We're wasting money on a building, and plus, I understand about the building is old and it need a whole lot of renovation on it. But sometime in the future, if not this board, some other board, we're gonna have to get a new police station anyway.
Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Further discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I was looking at that as well, and I just said maybe, and had no discussion with anyone, but just was thinking about the office itself, walking in, and you're going, and he's exactly right, there is a bathroom outside. Maybe we could invest that money in cameras or something of that nature with that building versus a bathroom. I do agree with that. Just want to share that information.
Thank you. Thank you. Further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like
Yeah.
to say where it says, I think Mr. Johnson may have said that, but renovate the toilets, that is bathroom.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Any further discussion? Yes.
It says cosmetic improvements to the front facade and entry foyer. So, what specifics are going to be done there, Mr. Johnston?
I can provide you with the scope of work, Ms. Irving, but I don't have that with me.
Okay, thank you.
And obviously, the board will have final approval on any of this as it goes through the next stages, and all of that can be considered. The question's been called. Is there second to the call?
Second.
All right, any opposed to the call? In that case, we'll proceed with the vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Mr. Johnson.
Under the same topic, the next building is Natchez Civic Center. You see the proposed scope of work, you see the estimated cost, and you see the funds set aside by the board for this project. Pleasure of the board.
Pleasure of the board. Alderwoman Smith has made the second. I've made the motion. Alderwoman Irving has seconded. We'll have discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I would
Alderwoman
just
Hall.
like to thank Mr. Tipton for all of the work he does in that building and his staff and for all of their upcoming events this summer. There's gonna be multiple events coming into that convention center this summer.
Yes, we really do, and thank you. I have one question on item 8. It says provide new roll-up door at north elevation. I think that might be possibly another elevation. The north elevation. It's the north door.
It's where the water can go back.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we have the right location. Because the north elevation actually faces a small alley. There's nothing that's on the back.
I'll double check. I put a question.
I believe it may be actually more the northwest
Right.
elevation.
Okay.
But just to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just a small thing. Any further discussion? Okay.
Call.
Question's been called. Second, any opposed to the call? and we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Next item.
The third building or buildings, which encompasses the Natchez Fire Department and 3 stations, you see the breakdown by base bid at the various stations, and you see the 2 proposed at alternates and the total monies budgeted for this project. Pleasure of the board.
So move.
Second.
Alderman Davis has made the motion and Alderwoman Hall has seconded the motion. Any discussion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
All right, any opposed to the call? We'll then proceed with a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mr. Johnston.
Next item, request for proposals for engineering services. This includes design phase and CE&I, construction engineering and inspection, Turtle Lane Drainage Improvement Project, monies from the city of Natchez and Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality. Proposals for engineering services, both design phase and CE&I, were received by the city of Natchez at 10 a.m. on Thursday, May 4th, 2013, accepted and taken under advisement to be reviewed by a committee appointed by the mayor. 5 firms submitted proposals, including Cornerstone Engineering, JKS Engineers and Surveyors, Volkert, A&M Engineering, and Neil Schaefer. Of the 5 firms, JKS Engineers and Surveyors received the highest score, 452 total points. Based on the recommendation of the review committee, staff is requesting a motion to utilize JKS Engineering and Surveyors to provide the design phase and CE&I for this drainage improvement project.
So move.
Okay, a motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion on the motion.
These are the same people that did the walk, Cemetery Road, JKS.
Yes.
Okay.
And, further discussion.
Call the question.
Question has been called by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by, okay. Actually, anyone opposed to the call? We will then proceed to the vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. I do have a question. Now that we have an engineer, they will design this and then come back. And at that point, we will then proceed with the bid.
Correct. I mean, before it goes to bid, this will be brought back to the board. Yes.
Right, okay.
Staff is requesting a motion to execute a professional services contract with JKS Engineers and Surveyors to provide engineering services for this drainage improvement project pursuant to the city's adopted and approved policies and procedures using federal grant funds, state and local fiscal recovery funds via 2021 American Rescue Plan Act, adopted on March 22nd, 2022, subject to review and approval of DEQ and the city attorney.
So move.
Second.
All right, motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
Any opposed to the call? We will then proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, Mr.
The next little paragraph, as this is FYI only, again, these are DEQ funds and City of Natchez funds, and note the obligation date and when final invoices must be submitted. Next project, Morgantown Road Drainage and Reconstruction Phase 2. This is also DEQ's Mississippi Municipality and County Water Infrastructure Grant Program, along with monies from the city and the county from their 2021 American Rescue Plan Act. Bids for Phase 2 were received by the City of Natchez at 10 o'clock a.m. on Wednesday, May 17th, 2023, with the bids received and are summarized as follows. 2 bids received, Construction Specialist and Dozer LLC. At this time, staff is requesting that the bids received be taken under advisement.
So move.
Second.
Alderman Davis has made the motion, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion?
Now, this is money that we've already allocated, so.
Yes, ma'am. No new monies being
Right.
requested.
Right.
And the reason I did, ask for it, they be taken under advisement is the county has not met just yet and I expect further action when the city meets again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll call for the question.
Call.
Second. With no one opposed, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Next item, Mr. Johnson.
Duncan Park Tennis Court Expansion 2021 Recreation Bond issued by the City of Natchez. Bids for the construction of 2 additional tennis courts at Duncan Park were received in the clerk's office by 10 o'clock a.m. on Thursday, May 18th, with the bids received summarized as follows. 2 bids received, Stubbs NK Contractors LLC and Hopkins Construction and Maintenance LLC. You see their respective bids. It is the recommendation of staff and the city's consulting engineering firm, A&M Engineering, to accept the low bid of Stubbs NK Contractors LLC and to enter into a contract for the construction of 2 new tennis courts.
So moved.
Second.
Alderwoman Hall has made the motion, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
We had discussed at our last meeting, the need for an additional $101,000 to meet this bid, since each bid has now come over bid.
We have received and we are within the funds available. Yes, ma'am.
And I will make a motion that we use Fund 109, the Casino Lease Fund, which has a balance of $1,210,000, $210,24.64.
All right, we already have one motion on the table. Can we entertain that as a separate motion?
I thought that was part of the
after
I thought that was a part of this motion. I'm sorry.
Well, okay.
That's
Then
up to
in
y'all.
that
Do
case,
amendment.
the motion has been amended by the author of the motion. Does the second
Second.
still stand? It
Yeah.
does, Alderman Davis. So basically, the motion specifies where the additional funds are to come from, and the
Yes, sir.
fund being the casino lease.
The
fund.
Casino Lease Fund.
All right, thank
And
you.
with our CPI now,
Okay.
adjustment of $98,475, we do have money to use towards this
Okay, thank you.
additional.
I know it was said at a prior meeting, we would have time to identify the funds. Thank you for doing that. We're ready to proceed. Good news.
Casino lease.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, further discussion?
Yes,
Yes, Alderman
This-
Frazier?
I understand the casino lease fund is for recreation. But then I'm thinking, should we just have, should we in executive session or something discuss that? It's just,
Yeah.
No, we didn't need to do this.
we should have, if we're gonna spend that money like that from the casino lease fund, I thought we should have went in executive session. I could be
It's a
wrong.
Public
I'm
fund.
just-
$500,000 that is allocated to the general fund from that 1.2 million. So we do have the money.
Yeah, I know we had the money, but I just was simply saying, shouldn't we went in executive session?
Mr.
The casino, I know the casino lease fund is for recreation, but
No,
I
we
think-
identified 4 different funds at our last meeting we could use money for. So I went and spoke to them.
Mr. Attorney, does any of this qualify for an executive session?
It's unrestricted funds.
Okay.
These are unrestricted. That's right.
That's why you do a closed determination and talk it all off.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's, you know,
That's basically what you're saying. I'm not.
obviously, she made the motion, but I'm thinking we should have, if we're gonna do this, we're spending this money, it's casino lease fund, at least we should have had some kind of executive session to discuss it. That's what I'm simply just saying.
If it's not,
I'm just,
if
you
I'm
know,
not
asking.
saying that as a public fund, I don't think we can discuss its expenditure.
But I'm saying it was
You
designated
never have to
for,
go into executive session.
It's-
and it's
it's-
gotta qualify.
yeah, it was
Sure.
designated for the casino lease fund. But my understanding is, and most of the money was set aside, the $1 million was set aside for recreation. I understand.
Now, we do have also a community development fund that is funded by the casino, and a lot of those funds have been used in the past for recreational purposes, but other community at large purposes. There's a number of,
We never discussed that.
ways in which that community development fund is used. Alderwoman.
Just in general, our lease fund since I've been, this is my 11th year, it's allocated to the general fund unless we dedicate something specifically for something like Ms. Hall has done this, which we are voting on. So if they don't like it, they can vote nay, and if they do.
I understand, I can vote nay, you ain't got to tell me that. I know that, but I'm just, you
All
know,
right.
you don't have to come.
Further
every-
discussion? Further discussion, we'll call for the question.
Call.
Second question's been called. Any opposed to the call? We'll proceed to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Tell you what, that's a lot. We just covered a lot. A lot of city properties are on their way to being renewed and renovated. Thank you. Ms. Frankie Legault, we're going to recognize you at this time. Planning?
Good evening.
Good evening.
What you have received is a draft for a short-term rental ordinance. This ordinance will not affect the process for bed and breakfast. It will not replace that. That will stay in place. These will only affect houses which are rented out for 30 days or less to various people who come into town. Most of them, none of them will have to offer any sort of breakfast like the bed and breakfast does. Right now, we have been using the guest house as a place, but this gives us a little more regulations for helping to control those, the houses that are in residential neighborhoods. For example, we're not going to allow like a venue place or for them to have large parties if they rent a house. If they wanted to have friends, if they have friends who are here in Natchez and want to invite them over, that would be perfectly fine. They could invite them over for dinner or for a movie or whatever. But we don't want any large scale parties on a regular basis. And because these are rented out, according to what the individual owner of the short-term rental does, some require at least 3 days, some of them require 7 days, but it can't be anything over 30 days. So there would exist the possibility for a lot of noise if they had people over, and so that's why we've initiated quiet hours from 10 p.m. We're requesting that 10 p.m. till 7 a.m. They're going to have to register with us, an annual registration of them. And that would be, and there are application requirements, which we will have to make a special application for that, but we've included the requirements here, but we will do that in the meantime. Yes.
Yes, Alderwoman
Just
Smith.
quickly, would you repeat what you said about the 30 days? I didn't catch
About
that.
what?
You said something about 30 days or something about the long term, short term.
30 days or less, yeah. That's typically what most ordinances say. If it's more than 30 days, it generally is a lease required. So, and they could rent it. There's no regulations on, it won't affect those more than 30 days if they are. Yes, they could change it to a long-term rental without coming to us or anything. They just would probably not renew the license every year, you know, so. The other thing which the Planning Commission looked at, they were concerned about the things that the owner or the property manager would need to relate to the people who are renting it. So we came up with an area information guide, which you have. It's the last page of your ordinance, of the ordinance there. And what they do, they will fill in the blanks in regard to what their B&B or what their short-term rental is. The address. You didn't get that? I sent it to them. This is what it looks like. Okay, I sent both of them. It's up here on the screen. You can. Yeah, I sent one to it, but I don't know why it didn't get attached to it. But it is mentioned in here that they have to place this in the short-term rental. So if anybody is there, if they forget their medicine, they've got the pharmacies that are in town that they can go to, the address and the phone number. Same thing if they need a hospital or need a emergency comes up. They have all the urgent care facilities and the hospital listed. We've listed to put them in the emergency 911 number as well as the fire department and police department. We've also included where the visitor center is, the address of the visitor center, because if you're new in the town, you may not know where it is or forgot your paper from home. The convention center and where some parks are in town if they'd like to go to a park. We've left blank ATM and convenience store because they might want to put the one that's closest to where their short-term rental is. There's also blank spaces in here if they want to list other information in there.
I would like to make one comment. The cities, funded by our taxes that come as a result of overnight stays at our hotels and breakfast establishments. That funds Visit Natchez. And Visit Natchez is the city's tourism arm. And so the Visit Natchez.
We can put that in there.
location on Main Street needs to be included also.
Mr. Mayor.
Because that is the official tourism designated entity by state law for the city of Natchez. Yes,
yes, I see one park is listed on there. I think we should list all of our parks. If we're gonna list the parks, we should put all of our parks.
Yes, we did. Yes.
No, only one park is listed. We should put all of our 6 parks listed. We should list all 6 parks.
All 6 parks should be listed on there.
Okay.
Or at least a reference to the city website where the listing of parks can be found.
Okay, thank you.
Understand. All right, please continue. Thank you.
The other thing is because it's going to be a special use permit, if we have anybody who is in violation, for example, the noise ordinance or for other ordinances in the city, we can bring the owner back before the planning commission, and they have the ability to revoke the permit if necessary. So that is, something we've also included in there. There is an appeal. The owner can make an appeal if it gets revoked, they can appeal that. If there are any complaints, we're encouraging them to contact the inspection department for things that can't be resolved through the normal channels with their contact person. Also, the police department, we encourage them to contact the police department if there's any problems, with such as noise or other issues on the property. And we want these complaints verified. We will provide the police department with a list of the short-term rentals that we have so that they know where they are, and then there are violations, there are fines for violation. And we've included definitions for the local property manager, also for privilege license. A lot of people don't realize there are other names at other places for privilege license. Some places call it a business license. And then what a short-term rental is, and that it includes rentals advertised on sites such as VRBO, Airbnb, Home to Go, and so forth. It includes all of those. So the other thing is, I was sent an email today, and which I think it was very good from Devin Heath, and he's here, and I would like him to explain it. We did this in Texas, and he and I are very familiar with. It's called they call it a hotel occupancy tax, and how we might be able to get some reimbursement from that, because we're not there.
All right. And I just it said, Devin Heath is an de facto department head, being that Visit Natchez is a subsidiary of the city as, a taxed entity, the city's arm for tourism. And so, normally anyone to address the board has to be on the agenda in advance, or we have to suspend the rules to allow them to speak. But that does not happen here because Mr. Heath is a de facto department director as the director of Visit Natchez. I just needed to make that statement. All right.
Thank you. I'll make this quick. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board of Aldermen. What Ms. Legault is talking about is one of the issues that we have been seeing, unfortunately, we're able to track how the city is doing and performing from an occupancy perspective throughout the year. And those numbers are not reflective of the tax income that we're receiving. So we, according to our calculations, we're seeing a significant discrepancy between the tax remittances that are being sent to the Department of Revenue in Jackson and obviously what we're collecting and what we believe the occupancies are in the city of Natchez. And as a result of that, actually, Ms. McKenzie and I have talked about this as well. And as a result of that, we're tracking that we're collecting a deficit of $10,000 per month as a result of these discrepancies. And we're trying to figure out where those discrepancies are. We've attempted to work with the Department of Revenue. The Department of Revenue is, quite frankly, undermanned. They have 17 individuals. The last time I spoke to them, they had 17 individuals to cover the entire state in every tax category and every industry across the state. And they just don't have the manpower to get their arms around. I've talked to a couple of business owners here in town who indicated to me that when they got on board and when they opened their business, they were not fully aware of the taxes that they had to remit. And it wasn't that they were trying to avoid it, they just weren't aware. And so as a result of that, they missed. One individual told me that he didn't pay his taxes that would have come to visit Natchez for 1 year, and nobody notified him. And it wasn't until he talked to a colleague that told him, hey, you know, you have to pay this additional tax. So
I understand. Yes, Alderman.
I just want to clarify what exactly we're talking about here. So I know if it's Airbnb, VRBO, they all send the taxes. They collect them. It's collected through that. Are you talking about like a B&B or?
We're talking all entities, hotels, B&Bs, and short-term rentals.
Do you feel like they're getting to the state, but the state's not getting them?
I don't know. There's no tracking mechanism for me to understand who's not, because unfortunately there's no reports.
Tracking the Airbnb and VRBO easily, and there's several other ones too now.
Correct.
I'm just confused on that.
Exactly. I all I have is an individual's word that they're paying it. I don't have any tracking mechanism. You know, the Hampton Inn or a bed and breakfast or a short-term rental. I have no. Unfortunately, I have no records that show that they are paying it or they aren't. All I wanted to ask of the Department of Revenue was just give me a report that has check marks next to the folks who are paying or aren't paying, and then we can reach out to them, because 9 times out of 10, it's our belief that they just don't know. They're just not aware that there's an additional tax that they need to pay. And so what Ms. Legault is speaking of, in other destinations, there is through the application process, there is a requirement that they have to register that with the city, and they have to provide proof that they are paying those taxes.
Okay.
Let me ask you a
Thank you,
question.
Alderman Frazier. You're recognized, and then Alderwoman or
Is this of me or Ms. Legault? I'm sorry.
To you, either one of them.
Okay.
Alderman Frazier.
Do you have the number of Airbnb in Adams County? How many do we have?
I do have that. I don't have that with me tonight, but I can get that for you.
Yes, okay. Do that for me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
One more. Ms. Ledoux, this form here is up to the owners of the Airbnb to post that. Is that gonna be posted in an Airbnb?
Yes, that's what the intent is. And we would give them a copy of this with all of the things included that you would like, plus the extra, the lines that they can add what they would like to add to it, but this would be posted, this would be required to be posted along with some of the other things that are in the ordinance that they'll have to post, like where they're going to have as part of the privilege license, they have to have an inspection by the building official and by the fire marshal. And it's my understanding that he requires them to post where the exits are in some of these. So they'll have to follow all the, where smoke detectors are supposed to be and, so forth. That's what that inspection is for. So they'll have all that done before opening to
It also, and you are required to notify how many occupants they're gonna be in that Airbnb.
Yes, that is in here. If it's a one bedroom, we allow 2 people per bedroom plus 2 because you could have a sofa bed in a living room. So a one bedroom would have 4 occupants, a 2 bedroom would have 6, and a 3 bedroom go up to 8. Now, with that being said, we specify in the ordinance that you count any child that's 1 year or older and all adults, but children 1 year and older. There are some when they're less than a year, usually they're in the pack and plays or so forth, so they don't usually sleep on a bed, so that's why we excluded them in there. But and along with this we're just introducing it now. We're not asking for a vote on it now. If you want to take a vote on it the next meeting, I could get it in the paper for the June 13th meeting, because I have to advertise 15 days in advance before we vote on something like this. And along with this, which sort of goes along with this, we're asking that we place a moratorium on accepting any other applications other than what's going for the June meeting, so that we won't have a rush of people that are running in to get these applied for. And, just a moratorium on accepting any application. Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was still asking questions.
According to our rules, when a motion is made, I have to recognize it. Alderwoman Hall.
No, Mr. Mayor, I was still asking questions. We were still asking questions, Mr.
Mr.
Mayor.
Attorney, I'll just have you speak to it. How should we?
I was just gonna ask.
I just understand.
I just had a couple more questions.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Legault asked for a motion.
Did Ms. Legault just ask for a motion?
No.
Ask for a motion.
Mhm.
For what?
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, excuse me. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but she was answering my question this year, but I had some more questions.
Oh,
but-
okay.
Alderman Hall just made a motion.
Hold on a second. Did you second the motion?
Let me
I don't know what the
do
motion
this.
was. She didn't hear
I'm
it.
not going to entertain the
No,
motion.
let's move on. Let's
until
move
you
on. Let's move on.
complete.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
When you, are you sure you're done, Mr.
Well,
Mr. Alderman?
I was,
I mean, we
I talked
can-
to you afterwards, Mr. LeClerc, because I had some questions because I'd like for you to explain to me, because I'm just simply asking, like, this is all new to me.
Yeah.
There are a lot of questions. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
So I'll talk to you later on, Mr. Dean.
I would say, Alderwoman Hall, if you would like to make your motion, but then we can continue discussion.
For what?
What is your
The
motion?
motion is to place a moratorium on accepting applications for guest houses until a short-term rental ordinance is adopted.
I think it's a little early yet. We're still on, that's the second
The
bullet
purpose
point.
of her asking for this moratorium is that
Yes.
we don't get anyone else acting illegally.
We are still on the first bullet point.
She just asked for a motion. Mr.
I know, but I think that's
And-
rushing.
I was
We're
just
still
saying, along with
discussing
this,
the
we would be asking.
Short-term rental ordinance, and we haven't actually made taken any action.
She's asked us
on
not
that
to
yet.
take any
Right.
action on it.
And we're not
Okay.
asking for any action
But I
other
think
than
we need to
when you
continue
want it
our
on the agenda.
discussion of that
Yeah.
Before we go to the second bullet point, because I still have questions and,
Okay.
and a few things. And the reason I say this is I want to make sure that we are absolutely transparent. And I don't want to rush to making any motion yet until we have had a full discussion on the short-term rental ordinance, what it means. I want to just say this, because I would like very much for this to be uploaded to the city's website immediately so that any interested party can see it. I actually spoke to, at the invitation of the Natchez Bed and Breakfast Association, I spoke to them Thursday evening, and they said, we haven't seen it. And I said, listen, as soon as it's presented to the Alderman Tuesday, we'll make it available so you can see it. I'd like for everyone to be able to see this, because we have a number of establishments in our city now, and we want to make sure that they all have an opportunity to see this. Also, we are designating certain areas where these establishments can be located, and certain areas where they can only be located under certain restrictions. And that's important for people to be able to see. And I also want to state this, and one reason I'm very interested in transparency is we actually have had some online social media discussion about me. And I want to make sure everyone understands that no one is railroading this because of a personal interest. It is true that I used to own several bed and breakfasts. I just want it said for the record that I sold one of those last May, the Stanton Guest House. In October, I closed the Garden Song Bed and Breakfast because as mayor, I just don't have time for that business any longer. And I was losing money because I was paying everybody to run it for me because I could do nothing on my own because of the duties of this job. I do currently, my corporation does currently own one Airbnb rental on State Street called Bell's Cottage. And that has been, I first opened in 2016 and obtained a privilege license then and have maintained that through the years. But I just wanted said that we have a number of entities that have said other communities are starting to make sure we have regulations in place. The city of Laurel has a very good ordinance. I believe a lot of this is modeled after the city of Laurel. I actually met with the mayor of St. Francisville, Louisiana today, Mr. Bobby Lee. He explained that they passed a very restrictive ordinance in St. Francisville in February that actually prohibits Airbnbs or short-term rentals in the majority of their town. So various towns and cities are doing this differently. I want it said that, though, that people who have come in and invested in property here in good faith, we need to be very respectful of them because they have come in. Some of them are absentee owners, but they're doing a really beautiful job of maintaining properties with proper management, and properties that just a couple years ago were vacant are now thriving and bringing a lot of people into our city on a daily, weekly basis for our events. And we don't want to just absolutely close the door to tourism in a city that thrives on our number one industry being tourism. But at the same time, we have got to be fair. If a hotel is operating and abiding by certain regulations, if a guest house is doing the same thing, if a bed and breakfast is doing that, and also if neighbors are very sensitive to having this in their community, we need to have a process, because I do believe that anyone in Natchez should have some say in what's in their neighborhood, and what's next door to them, what's their street. And I'm just addressing these issues while we're in discussion, because these are questions I've been asked, and I have to answer these. This is too important for us just to rush through. I want it made available on the website, Mr. Hinkle, by tomorrow, if you could. I also want to make sure that anyone who has any concern, feel free to reach out to me or any of us. Alderwoman Smith, I'll recognize you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a question for the city attorney. We took a house that was falling down on North Wall in Madison and remodeled it, and it was a long-term rental, but now it's been converting to short-term. Do I need to recuse myself when we do, tonight we're not voting on it, but when we do I need to recuse myself from that vote?
We'll check that with Ethics Commission.
Okay.
Well, I just read it and yes, she does. You will.
Yeah,
And I just was reading that today, and I did read it. Yes, you would
And
have
when
to.
it comes to a vote, I may have to recuse myself also. So, just understanding that.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
I would like to say that the ordinance committee with Ms. Legault and with the mayor, we went extensively to write this draft for this ordinance. And Ms. Legault is a certified planner who goes by the zoning laws with what we are doing here. So I really don't think the B&B owners can come in and tell us how to write an ordinance when we're being fair to every citizen in this city with our ordinances. And she has worked hard on this ordinance.
Well, Mr. Mayor, may I just say something here? I want to say that, in all
Yes,
actuality, I
Alderwoman
just
Irving.
think we need more discussion as a board, with this information that we have been given and reading the Ethics Commission as well. Today, I just was reading through, just looking through some things, and I did come about with this. But I also know that we need more hearings. There was a hearing at the planning commission meeting just a couple of Thursdays ago. And I see members that were here, that are here in this meeting tonight that was there 2 weeks ago. And so they need more discussion. That's why they're back at this meeting this evening.
Yeah, a
That's
couple.
why they're back at this meeting.
Yeah,
this
a
evening for
couple
clarity.
of them have called me, and I think they understand. I think they were thinking it was going to affect bed and breakfast also. But when I explained to them it will not, the bed and breakfast ordinance will stay still on the books as it is. This is only for short-term rentals, and they want to convert it to a short-term rental, from a short-term rental to a long-term. They just call us up and say, hey, I don't need my privilege license anymore. I'm going to rent it for 6 months or a year or whatever the lease time is,
And since we have that, how are we collecting that, the permits, the lease? How are we collecting?
Oh, we don't
it?
have
Are we just
anything to
from
do
the-
with it
What
or
happened
with the
with privilege
lease.
license?
Yeah.
Because they have to have.
With a
privilege license.
yes, they have to have a privilege license. So after it, we have a list of the ones, that go through and were approved. And then we tell them when I write up the report to the planning commission, I'll let them know that if it's approved, they must apply for a privilege license. So we have a list of all those. Most of them come in within a week of getting it approved because they're ready to start. They're ready to go.
My next thing is that could you provide a list of the locations of the?
I can provide a list of the locations of the ones that have their privilege license is what I could provide.
But there aren't any others out there that do not.
There probably are, and that would be, we could look into that, and I'm sure people will come in and say that, there are always some that run under the radar. They're always, it's inevitable. We try to get them.
Don't know.
Right, exactly. And that is one reason why I'd like a moratorium, is because if we publish it, we're going to have all these people running in to get under the old regulations, so they're grandfathered in and don't have to follow the new regulations,
And I certainly understand. We'll have that
Yeah.
discussion in just a moment.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to just suggest this, obviously this has been through the Preservation Commission. There's been a lot of discussion
Planning
there.
Commission, not
It's,
Preservation.
the Planning Commission, thank you. Planning Commission has now come to us. This is our first time, as a board, mayor and board, to look at it together. And I do invite transparency. There are a lot of individuals in our community who are stakeholders, who have an interest in this. And as with any ordinance, before we can pass an ordinance, we have to have a public hearing. We have to publish it. And I'm not opposed to entertaining a motion to start that process so that this could be published in the newspaper and a public hearing. All right. So Alderwoman Irving has made that motion, and it has been seconded by Alderman Davis. That just gets the ball rolling. It will be published. A public hearing will be scheduled. I also want to make this statement. Just because a public hearing is held doesn't mean this mayor and board of aldermen have to take action on it. That public hearing can be simply just to get that input. If the board chooses then they want to enact it, they can. But I think it's very good to have as much public input as we can.
And that's what we need.
And I'm sensitive to this because there have been comments made that I'm just trying to push something that benefits me. And I'm not. I'm just trying to take care of Natchez because this concerns all of us. But the motion's been made. Alderman Frazier will have discussion.
Because we've been discussing this for quite a while. Let me say this. Mr. Mayor, I'm in total agreement that we should let the public know. And it's, if we don't do this, it do seem like that we're ramming this down in somebody's throat and they don't know anything about it. So I think what they just made the motion that we should let everyone in this community know what's going on. But ultimately, the decision is going to be left to the board to make that decision.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to say we have never gone for the public to review any ordinance that this board has done.
Mhm.
And I do not think that we should get started with this ordinance.
A public hearing is a process. We've done that on every ordinance.
And we should, because we
No, 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 every ordinance.
should
Not
have
every
it
ordinance.
from the public. That should be always.
I thought a public hearing was required. I
A public
definitely-
hearing is required. I have to give 15 days notice in the newspaper.
Would you repeat that, Ms. Legault?
A public hearing before the alderman is required. We have to advertise in the newspaper a minimum of 15 days prior to the meeting at which it's heard. And then if you wanted to table it at that point, you could table it, or you could, for more information or for changes or whatever. But we are required to put an ad in the newspaper 15 days in advance of the meeting at which you were potentially vote on it, to consider and potentially vote.
Okay, the motion then, I think we've exhausted our discussion. It will be advertised. I still don't see any harm in it being on the website. Let's just. The draft document. So
The draft document, yeah, which he has.
And,
That's this.
all right, yes.
Until I know anything definitive, I'm going to recuse myself before.
All right, all right. Now, in this case, I'm presiding. I'm not voting.
Nope.
How, should I recuse myself though, even now?
No, you're not voting.
I'm not voting? Okay, all right. Then in that case,
Just recuse yourself.
You need to
Go ahead and approve it, and you can have any part of it whatsoever.
then in that
Recuse
case,
yourself.
someone else will have to conduct the meeting and the vote.
Mr.
So
Frazier.
we have no one else.
Mr. Frazier. Mr. Frazier.
Actually, I would suggest this, the alderman here who, is the chairwoman of our ordinance committee. I would just defer to her then to conduct the vote because she is chairman of that ordinance committee. So at this point, I'm going to recuse myself, and I will step outside and just let me know when to return.
We'll do a vote.
We're gonna do a vote on what? I need the motion restated.
Motion,
On what you did.
I believe the motion was
Oh.
to
On your-
authorize advertisement for
Yeah,
for
okay.
public hearing for the ordinance.
Just,
For the June 13th meeting.
okay,
For the June 13th meeting.
thank you.
All in favor of the motion? Is there a second? I think
Yes,
Alderman Davis.
Already
seconded.
second.
he seconded.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays?
Ayes have it.
Ayes have it.
Hey, tell them, they can come back.
The discussion is dead, isn't it?
He got.
I think he's gone to the
Fire
fire.
chief.
Oh,
Aaron gone to get them. Yeah.
All this extra help. Normally I think-
Oh, yeah, work you over there.
All right, we return to the next item. Ms. Legault, you're recognized.
So
You can tell us what the result was.
the result, the motion passed.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So there will be a public hearing on.
June 13th. Mhm.
Okay.
And do you
Let's
want
set
to
a
discuss the
time.
moratorium now?
That's our meeting.
That's the board meeting day.
That wasn't part of the motion.
I think that's understood.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Legault, the next item.
All right, we're requesting that a moratorium be placed on accepting any applications for short-term rental until such time as the ordinance is adopted.
So moved.
Before we even entertain this again, I would like to recuse myself because I actually, at this moment, I own a guest house, as I've just stated, and I do. And so it's a standalone property, so I'm going to recuse myself, and I want to defer to the mayor pro tem.
So I'm good.
You good.
Yeah, we're doing it.
No, it's, it's not an operation.
So, Mayor Pro Tem, you can do
Okay,
this.
so please continue with the
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah, okay. We're requesting a moratorium be placed on accepting any applications.
Let's have order so we can listen to them.
Those applications which are already in will be heard. I think I have 4 or 5 of them for June. Those would be heard because they're already in the quay, so to speak, but any others starting tomorrow would not be accepted until after this is either approved or denied, whichever so the short-term rental is approved or denied, I guess, because it could be
I
denied,
move the moratorium be placed on applications for accepting guest houses and short-term rental. Ordinance is adopted.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Anyone want to call for the question?
Call.
Question's been called. Is there any opposition to the call? I will ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you all. If you have any questions, you can email me or come by and see me, and I'll do my best to explain it to you. Okay.
You're not leaving, are you? Are you leaving the meeting now?
On the email, yeah,
Are
it's
you
just
leaving the meeting now? Are you-
yeah. I was planning to. Do you want to?
I just want to ask you.
Okay.
Call tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll give you a call tomorrow. How did you resolve that issue with?
Would y'all send the
Okay.
mayor back in, please?
Will y'all send the mayor back in?
Tomorrow. You want me now? Or?
All right,
No.
next on the agenda.
Chief.
Our mayor's coming, but we'll just keep on pushing. Chief Arrington, you can go ahead and come on up while we get the mayor in.
Thank you, Ms. Legault.
Thank you, Ms. Legault. Can we grab the mayor?
They got, yeah.
Chief, did you get the mayor board?
They get.
Dustin getting.
Oh, okay.
You must be talking. All right, so Chief, just go ahead and start. I think
Okay.
the mayor's aware.
So what we have here, I passed out to everyone. This will be our proposal to the county for our interlocal fire agreement. There was a committee put together. Oh, yeah, hold on.
Let me clarify that our acting city attorney will step out as he is the counsel for the county, and he can't unbiased on this situation. Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay. So there was a committee put together by the board, Chief Green, former Fire Chief Green, and myself, along with our chairman, Mr. Davis. We have went over what is the current agreement and what we think would be advantageous for us in the future. So this is a proposal to propose the county starting now for our new agreement. The agreement would, if signed, start in October.
Okay. Do y'all want to take this under advisement so we can all
Yeah,
review?
yeah.
So we can look at it.
I would ask for a motion to take this agreement under advisement.
So move.
So move for me.
Second.
All right. Any discussion?
Yes, I'm glad we take it on the advisement because we still have an open seat. And so everybody can get a chance to participate in the next one. We just want to take it on advisement.
Well, for the simple reason, we're just receiving this today as well, so we need to read the document so that we can have questions or, some input.
Any further discussion, or do you want the chief to give any kind of major overview? I think we can all read it.
Yeah, right. You got
We'll just
overview
wait.
boards?
I do if y'all want me to.
Don't put that.
So, okay.
The
So
old numbers capacity.
right now, the county, the portion that they pay for towards the fire agreement is about 26% of our budget. We are asking to increase that amount closer to our call volume that we receive into the county. So this number reflects that closer to our call volume, which is about 45% of our current budget. We are asking that they have a stake in the maintenance of the vehicles. Right now, the city takes all of the maintenance of the fire trucks and apparatus and tools and whatnot. So we're asking that they have stake into the maintenance of the vehicles and a fire truck. We're asking that right now the county provides one fire truck to the city. We're asking that in as needed that they consider purchasing another one.
Is there any other questions
Uh,
for the chief? Mr.
I I don't have any questions, but I just simply like to say, I know Dan is smiling on you right now.
I hope I am doing him good justice right now.
This is dear to his heart, and this is what he wanted.
I
So,
agree. I agree.
I would like to say, we're gonna put this out, but please bring it back. If you can tweak it a little more, whereby we can get a little more out of it, that we can do that. Because this is something that.
We're pushing this.
Yeah, we're pushing this, because they got a budget too now.
This is something that, like I say, that Dan was true to his heart, and ever since I've been on this board, that's all he talked about.
I will say that Alderman Dillard and myself, we did talk about this. So this is based on conversations that he and I had. So again, I hope I am doing him a proud job.
Thank you.
If you all have any questions, y'all feel free to contact me. I have extensive notes. This has been a long, hard process. So any questions that y'all have, feel free.
Anybody call for the question?
Call.
All right, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
And all opposed? Motion passes, Mr. Mayor. We just passed a motion to take the fire agreement under advisement and review, and he gave a brief overview
All right.
for
Thank
us.
you. Thank
And
you.
we also, Alderman Frazier did honor our Alderman Dillard, because this was dear to his heart.
Very, very much so. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to thank Alderwoman Hall for conducting the vote in my absence while I was recused, and also Alderwoman Smith, Mayor Pro Tem. All right. I know you worked so hard on that, Chief. Thank you. We now will move on to city official reports. And I do want to explain, we have a matter being discussed, someone who was needing to address us, and we were going to put them on the agenda, and then we didn't because we weren't sure, and the city attorney is working that out right now. We're going to move forward with our city official reports. Alderwoman Hall?
Yes, sir. It's a little lengthy, so I need to share this. I attended the Coley Natchez campus graduation recently, and 45 of the 90 students actually came from NECA. And in fact, the speaker, the graduation speaker, was a NECA graduate.
Wow.
Outstanding students. in that
How
program.
many of the graduates?
They had 90 students
45.
total, and 45 were
Wow.
from NECA, including 3 of our mayor's youth council who graduated from Colin. And they graduated from Colin with their associate's degree before they get their high school diplomas on June the 2nd. So they are to be commended. Again, I will speak at the graduation tomorrow for the Project Search interns at Mirror Health, Nathan, Patrick, and Chloe. 3 intellectually challenged young adults who are now ready for our workforce. And I'm hoping anyone out here will employ those young adults. They are well prepared to be employed. Our free clinic for disc golf will be June the 3rd, 10 a.m. at Duncan Park disc golf course. And please go to the 2nd pavilion where that will begin. And we're grateful for Mr. Chad Sherbert, who will be working with the males, and Miss Courtney Stampy, who will be working with the females, who will be learning the game of disc golf. So please come out and enjoy. Also, the cancer tennis tournament will be at Duncan Park on June the 2nd through June the 4th. The tennis center is 601-442-1589. You can sign up for that event. They will also have pickleball and tennis lessons this summer at Duncan Park as well. And again, that number is 601-442-1589. There will be the Norman Puckett Junior Golf Clinic will be every Monday in June from 9 a.m. until 12:30, and the cost is $50 per child. And you can call the golf clubhouse for more information. 442-5955. On May 6th, they had the Joe Fortunato Scramble at Duncan Park. On May 13th, the Good Men Golf Association Tournament was held. And Deep Core Air Fire to the Greens was held on May 15th. The upcoming event, again, the Norman Puckett Junior Clinic, but the Norman Puckett Junior Clinic, which is the regional event for golfers from all over the South, junior golfers, will be June 10th through June 11th. So please sign up for young girls and boys for these golf clinics, as well as the tennis and pickleball. The baseball fields are looking great, and I think the sod is being put down as we speak and will be completed, I think, by Friday with that. So I know that was a little lengthy, Mr. Mayor, but I think all of that needed to be said tonight. So I do appreciate your patience.
Thank you. Great report. Thank you so much. Alderman Fraser, your report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I had Mr. Robinson here. You had a discussion about what he needed to turn in. I think, but he left. He wants to turn some paperwork, and I don't know who he's gonna supposed to turn it, but I'll get back with him.
And I did see him today.
Okay.
And received the paperwork he had from me. Yes.
I just want to say this: I'm concerned about what is going on in the city of Natchez with our youth and stuff, and what is going on Facebook and posting and dealing with our police department. I just felt that, I know individuals have a right to freedom of speech and they do what they want, but I thought it was just a shame the way they posted this incident with the Natchez Police Department. But that's the way of the world now, and that's the way people are operating. But I feel that we deserve more respect than what we got. But it's just was disheartening to me, and I think that we as a community, we're gonna have to get together and get a grip on our youth in this community. It's gonna be a long, hot summer. I mean, a long, hot summer. And I'm just gonna say this, Mr. Mayor, you might not like this, but I'm gonna say it. We are understaffed. Our department is understaffed, but like I say, it's a long, hot summer, and I don't want none of our officers to get hurt trying to do the best they can for public safety. And we as a community, not only the police department, the citizens, they're responsible for what's going on too. We're responsible for our kids. We're responsible for each other. But in order to take pride in this community, we're going to have to work together with each other, with the police and everybody. And like I say, I understand people have business around here and trying to make money. People's calling me, asking me, what is wrong with the police department? What is wrong with the community? Like I say, it's not just the police, it's the citizen too. It's everybody is to blame. We just can't blame. But our police is, and I'm not finna blast the police. Our police are doing the best they can.
Absolutely.
But what we got. But like I say, we have an understaffed police. We have an inexperienced police department. But I am asking the citizens of this community to reach out and help us. We are not the only community that are facing these problems. We are facing it all over the country. And we can't sit up here and talk about Natchez, New Orleans, Jackson. We all are in the same boat. And we just got to work with our public officials, and we got to work with our police officers. But for some reason, like I say, people just find it amusement to post stuff on Facebook about the police. And way things are going now, police is a dying breed because no one wants a job anymore. No one had the courage to take the job anymore. But somebody got to do the job. We got to keep our community safe. So I'm asking the people and citizens of Natchez, as a former police officer who dedicated himself to the city of Natchez who love the police department, who still love the police department and dedicated. And I'm gonna say that because Chief Green's saying that I'm dedicated and working with her. But like I say, I'm dedicated to the police department. That's where I made my living off the public and people. And we got to realize one thing: we got to stand as a community with each other. The police department, the sheriff department. If we don't have public safety here, we don't have nothing. We're gonna be a community running wild. And we're not, and I'm quite sure everyone sitting on this board is not gonna let that happen. The mayor's not gonna let that happen, and I'm not gonna let that happen. Even if I had to come back and put on my old uniform, I think I might do that myself. But like I say, we need to do something, Mr. Mayor. It's gonna be a long, hot summer, and I'm quite sure we get together, and I'm quite sure Chief Green gonna get together with Sheriff Patton, and we're gonna work this thing out. Thank you, Mr.
I did hear from multiple people in the community this weekend that they are very, very appreciative and supportive of Chief Green and her staff. I heard that from multiple people this weekend. I will share that.
Thank you. Thank you. Alderman Smith?
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. Very good comments. And we appreciate your service and your past years of service. Alderwoman Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say that our police department deserves respect. They are out there every day serving and protecting, and they deserve respect, and they deserve to not be assaulted by the public. It's very, very disheartening that whole thing. So thank you for what you do and what your staff does every day for us. Chief, I see you over there. We appreciate you. And I do want to acknowledge, as a tourism chair, I want to acknowledge and thank Visit Natchez for the job that they did recently when we had Walt Grayson and the WJTV team here, and they set them up on a great path to showcase Natchez the other week. So we appreciate all you did with that. And then I know they're working on a new campaign that will showcase Natchez as well. So thank y'all for that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's it.
Thank you so much, Alderwoman. Alderwoman Irving, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I want to begin with acknowledging I stand with the men and women in blue.
Absolutely.
I stand with them wholeheartedly, 100%. And we support you in all your endeavors, in your efforts to keep our city safe. And just thank them. Thank them for everything that they do, put their lives on the line every day, every night to protect us while we're in our homes, we're at our jobs, our children are at school. They're out there to protect our community. And I just can't say thank you enough. I also want to acknowledge on yesterday, just scrolling through my Facebook, and Visit Natchez came up, and I saw, okay, I see. I don't remember what it was entitled. However, I do see that it was downtown and each business was there. But what impressed me the most was that there were likes from the local, as well as over 2,300 likes of views from people who are looking in. And so hats off to you. Kudos to you for what you're doing with our Visit Natchez and putting forth the effort to the big umbrella for the number one industry at this point that's in our city of Natchez, and it is tourism. The other thing that I would like to inquire about, and this is our summer youth jobs. I had not seen any advertisement. I've had several people call inquiring, are we hiring our youth? Had that program started? I didn't have any information. I just felt it was time that we would be, but I didn't have any information. So in the very near future, if we're doing that, then the other persons need about a time frame, flyers going out, city website. It's just, we need to know so that we can address those questions. When those jobs are available, how many we're going to hire, that possible thing, and where we're going to place them. That's important. So we can have those questions. The other concern I have is adjudication of properties. And Mr. Dollar is not here, and I sit on the commission chair for Public Works. Grass is growing. Grass is growing. We're at that growing season. Summer months are approaching, and grass is growing. And so adjudicated properties, I already see that, properties that are there, but we have not received an updated list
of those properties. And so I'm hoping that you would be able
We have
to.
started a new process. If you see any properties in need, please report them either on the website. About 2 months ago, we set up, and we're receiving those reports. And our code enforcement officer is working those and preparing lists and get ready. We're having a public hearing every month from now on. We will have a special call meeting. This is in my report. I was going to say this, but you'll be receiving notice of a special call meeting Friday at 10 a.m. We're doing this as a special call to take care of some pressing code enforcement issues that we've already sent notice out on. And then starting in June at our second meeting of the month in June, well, I got to confirm that.
Right, because that seems like the dates
We'll
we're gonna be
confirm
able to
that.
post.
But every month, starting in June and thereafter, we're having to build a new adjudication list because a lot of the properties you're speaking of have now retired and expired, and we are
But
starting a
don't
new
we
list.
just apply for them over again? Because
We have to go through a new process. Once they expire, we have to have another adjudication. You can only adjudicate a property for a maximum of 2 years. And so those have expired, so we're starting over. And so you can report those to the mayor's office or go to the website and report them on the website. And Mr. Hinkle, what page will they find the link on the homepage?
It's right, there's a link on the homepage.
On the homepage.
And through the resident services.
And the resident
now I have to
services
say
page.
this. I have to say this. Now, I love the idea that we're using technology, but everybody in our community is not tech savvy.
They call the
And
mayor's
so
office every day.
when they're calling, I mean, I just want to make sure that this information is available. I hadn't seen anything in the newspaper. I mean, when people are aware of things, because I'm getting the calls, that's my reason for bringing this up this evening. I have adjudicated property where lightning has struck trees and it's leaning over the canopy, the overhead of a street.
Please report it to us.
Ms. Urban, call.
I want to
I
tell
have
you.
the address here tonight.
we
I
have-
just got the call on
But
yesterday.
it needs to be reported to the office or on the web and just
Yeah.
please get it. We have some
We've
aldermen
been
who
doing
call
that.
every day and report them, and Officer Grover's out there every day.
Well,
But Ms.
of course, I'm
Irving.
in work, so I ain't been able to report during the day, but I'm here tonight. I'm doing the very
Sure.
best that I can.
Well, if you'll
But
write that down for
I
me,
will, ma'am.
I'll give
I'll leave
it
the
to the
addresses to
office
you.
in the morning.
Thank you.
certainly.
I have
We
them here.
to.
I
Just
do
write
have
it
that.
down a note for me.
I have it
so
written
that I
here.
can be sure and turn
Ms.
it.
Irving.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yes, we had this discussion several months ago when we were instructed to call Miss Jackie Ezel in the mayor's office in the afternoons. Because yes, we call the mayor's office and report it. You can report it. Any citizen can report.
But I
their
would like
property.
a flyer, and the reason
We
why I'm
don't need
saying
a
that, Mayor,
flyer,
because
just-
when you put it on your Facebook page, people respond better when you get, and it speeds up the process because they got actual information in front of them.
Well, we're being overwhelmed as of right now, so I'd say
That's why
word
we
has
have
gotten out there.
Dustin. I'm asking, could we get a flyer so that we could put on the? And I know that's
We'll
what
look
he
into
does
that
for
if we
promotion.
could. We're
Okay.
almost at 9:00.
Okay, all right.
And
So
many people have families and things to do tomorrow. So let's just continue if we can.
neighborhood watch meetings will resume starting next month. The MAC will be back in up and going again in the month of June. I will place them in the Natchez Democrat and on Facebook page so that members of the community, you've been asking, and we're able to get them up and going again. The other thing that I want to inquire about, Mr. Mayor, is about the recreation director.
That is in my report.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll just wait to hold my comments until then. And I also, one more adjudicated property. And I'll turn that in on the list. Okay. Then that concludes my report.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Alderman Davis.
I'll make it short and sweet. I'd like to thank the chief of police. I think she's doing a great job. She have a lot coming at her, the board, all the aldermen, the mayor, and the public. That's a lot to take in, but she's doing a good job. I also like thank the police, the fire chief. He's doing a great job on what he's doing. We're helping getting that interlocal agreement done, prepping it, preparing it. And also on June 10th, we'll have my Fishing with the Fathers out at the state park, out there in State Park. It's starting at 8 o'clock. And that ends my report.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the registration.
We'll now move to the city clerk. So Madam Clerk, you're recognized.
Thank you. Quite a few extra things that I put on y'all's desks prior to the meeting, since I was not here last week to get these items together. I was in Minnesota for the IIMC conference. Thank you all for letting me attend that conference. It was a wonderful conference. We had some great sessions, brought a lot of wonderful information back. So the first request I have for tonight is the approval of the 2nd May claims docket.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith and seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion.
Yes, I do.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
Okay. I just wanted to ask about advertisement. It's on page 4, and it's fund account number 001-094-348, and it's advertisement for business. So we paid them to advertise.
No, this is a reimbursement for the Facebook advertising that was done for the Harmony in the Park events.
Okay. All right.
And that was in the budget.
Okay. On page 5, and it's 001-098-625, Sparklight Business. And it's just, I'm not familiar. Well, what I'm thinking this is 111 Dumas Drive. What is that?
That's internet service.
Internet.
So we at home?
No, that's for them cameras.
Oh, okay. All right. Just making sure. Thank you.
All right.
One more.
All right. While she's looking for that, is there any
That's
other discussion?
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Is that
Call
it?
for the question.
Okay, the question's been called. Second, any opposed to the call? We'll proceed to the vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Next item.
Okay, next item is request for approval of the 2nd May mini claims docket.
What is the pleasure of the?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
So I'm asking for claim number 19416, and it's again Locust Alley, Harmony in the Park. So the $6,500.
Okay, hang on just one second. Look on with Alderwoman Hall. I managed to make it here tonight without a copy of the mini claims docket.
Oh, okay.
I do apologize.
That's okay.
Okay, so, yes, those were additional expenses that were turned in. So with that full invoice, we would be able to provide exactly what those reimbursements were for.
Now,
And then again, that's Harmony in the Park.
But I do have a question, because we allocate $4,000. So this is additional?
So there's monies that are brought in that they're paid to the city as donations. And then the city pledged X amount. And so for whatever reimbursements for this event, up to the city's pledge and the received donations. So I can give you a full breakdown at a later date of what was received in donations from businesses and just individuals in the community, along with the city's $4,000 portion. So yes, all of that is tracked, and that's what these reimbursements came from.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Call for the question.
The question's been called. Any opposed to the call? We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Next item.
Okay, next item I have is request to approve and proceed with the monitoring of the Natchez Bluff walls. This was an estimated cost of $19,000 that would be paid from the Capital Improvements Fund. This information was sent to me by Mr. Dollar, and since he is not here tonight, asked that I would please bring this before the board.
So moved.
So motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion.
That's,
Yes, Alderman Fraser.
That's the wall we
that
talked about
was
last
for,
time.
The retaining wall for the entire bluff, that bluff stabilization project for, JK&S to come in and do a monitoring of that wall to, just monitor for any damage or repairs that need to be made.
So
Thank you.
proceed with monitoring of the wall.
Right, so this would be a monitoring service where they would then go in, set up monitoring stations. There's a handout attached that kind of gives a full description. Establish starting monitoring points at base and tops of concrete walls and along the timber walls for visual inspection. Supply an inspection report, a spreadsheet, and or map showing the location of the movement. So then we could identify any repairs that are needed.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board? I would say this is a very worthy item. We have not, in many years, we have not had proper monitoring of our bluff stabilization project. And there is movement, as we know, along the bluff. There are items that can creep up over time, and it may appear very small at first, and then over a short period of time, it can become very major. And so this would basically set up monitoring for the next year. And this is very specific scientific monitoring to detect movement all along and at all facets of the bluff. It's very precise and very involved. And then at the end of that year, it can be determined whether or not it needs to be proceeded. But this will be monitored for the next year as a preventive measure. Alderwoman Smith has made the motion.
Already made the motion.
No.
We already had a motion.
Okay. Well,
Sorry.
y'all, it's been a long week and a long day, and it's only Tuesday. So I just wanted to be sure that everyone understood the significance of this.
Yes, sir, we did.
All right, then we can call for the
Call the
question.
question.
All right, Alderwoman Smith?
I just wanted to quickly say, could we get a monthly report on what they've done?
Certainly. Let us request that a monthly report be given as we take on that service. We have now, the question's been called. Any opposed to the call? We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the
I have a
motion
question.
indicate, Alderman Fraser, yes, sir.
I just wanted to ask a question. The monitoring of the wall and stuff, is there any way, if I'm not mistaken, I think the wall was, that the bluff stabilization was put up by, with federal dollars and state dollars? Is there anything in where about the federal government, if anything arose like that money? We just was left to fend for
That's
ourselves.
right. There was no monitoring, as I understand, built into that. Okay.
So if we have a major disaster down there, so the city of Natchez have to be responsible for it.
As I said, this is a preventive measure to keep that from happening.
Well, I'm not an engineer or anything, and I'm not a monitor, but I do have a little common sense. I done been down and I've seen trees growing out the wall. So it's a whole lot of stuff that needs to be done down there. And so JKS gonna give us all the stuff that we need to be done.
They'll be watching it over the course of the next year to monitor.
Because I know trees grow out the wall because public works.
And we regularly attempt to take care of those as they do. Yes, we do. Yeah. The question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
Okay.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Next request is approval of the interfund transfers, which we only had one. That transfer was made from the 606 Victory Tax Withholding to the 126 Recreation Fund. And this was a reimbursement from an erroneous payment. Again, when we go into the Mississippi TAP, we have both accounts set up and it clicked on the wrong account, so we just needed to make that transfer.
Okay, motion made by Alderwoman Smith, Alderwoman Hall, and seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion. We will call for the question.
Call.
Any opposed to the call, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Next item.
All right, next item is request for approval of the one interfund loan that was made. This loan was made from the general fund to the 2022 capital improvements bond fund. And again, this is to cover docket expenses until a drawdown can be made from the investment account.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Any discussion on the motion?
Will the money be able to be drawn down from the investment account?
I make those drawdowns periodically, for every single invoice. I don't want to kind of wait until I have a few, and then we submit those, and we have those funds within a week.
Okay. And my reason for bringing this up is because I recently ran into some paperwork that our auditor, Mr. Carl Hammond, had stated that we need to, this is one of the things that caused us to have the findings.
And all of these are well tracked and documented because of that issue with the
What
past.
now?
I said all of these are well tracked and documented because of those past issues.
Okay, because that is what I just said, and he's like the least of them. That's the reason why we can't get anyone to, resolve their general fund. Okay, I'm just asking.
All right, any further discussion? Call for the question.
Call.
Any opposed to the call, we'll proceed to the vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Next item.
Okay, next item is request for approval of the Civic Plus Unicode estimate of $6,526.40 to supplement the development code, which was actually adopted on December 9th of 2014 and went into effect on January 9th of 2015. This service and this payment would include incorporating and indexing the development code, updating code tables, creating a checklist of up-to-date pages and supplemental history table, creating an instruction sheet, providing for printed copies of the supplement, color copies, the folio copies, and updating the online version.
So moved.
What is the play? Okay, Alderwoman Hall has made the motion. Seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion.
Now, explain this again. What is this?
This was the
Because this was before we even got in office. We got
Right,
in
well,
at
this
16.
was, long before I was here as well.
Okay.
So this was the development code that was adopted back in 2014. It went into effect in January of 2015. It has never been incorporated and indexed into the city's charter, the city's code. So this is just kind of taking that last legal step and having it bound and put into our official ordinances and codes.
Okay, all right.
All right.
The question.
The question's been called. Any opposed to the call? We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Does that conclude your report?
I believe that concludes
Thank
my
you.
report.
Mayor's
Thank you.
report, I do want to give a brief update on the Parks and Recreation Director. As we informed the board by email about a week ago, Ms. Sonora Cole has received a job offer that she just can't refuse. It's in Baton Rouge, working with a former coworker of hers, a person she worked with for the city of Baton Rouge, who now is over the sports program for Southern University. She is from Baton Rouge, her family's there. It's just a very good job offer. We congratulate Ms. Cole on the fine job she's done. She has overseen historic progress in renovating all playgrounds and all of our parks over the last 2 years, in addition to doing so many other projects, some of which we've actually been voting on tonight. And so we just applaud her and her great service. We will have an executive session at the close of this meeting to determine a path forward, understanding now that we will have to make a decision tonight, maybe a couple decisions with that regard. And so we will ask you to stay around for that. And in the meantime, there are a number of recreational programs that are already scheduled. And we do have a gentleman here who is the assistant director, and we will discuss this a little later, but he's already working on plans with the staff to continue those programs. And his name is Ryan Porter. And we will have that executive session shortly.
Mr. Dan,
Yes.
I hear you saying that that you've already established, and I do want to go in executive session, but I'm going to say
We have not
this.
established anything. That decision has to be made.
Oh, okay.
After we go into
Okay.
executive session.
Okay.
Yes, as I said, even yesterday at the special call meeting, all of that has to be discussed by the board tonight. Those decisions have not been made. We have two decisions to make moving forward with regard to this, as I just said, and we will have an executive session shortly. I would like to give a report on the trip I made to Chattanooga, Tennessee. A very good conference, and I want to just applaud and just say we are turning brown to green. I was so grateful for the opportunity to attend the TENSAS 2023 Tennessee Environmental Network Show of the South Conference, one of the country's largest environmental conferences held in Chattanooga. Expenses were covered by our Brownfields grant, and it was a pleasure to meet Mr. David Sawyers, Director of the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation there. He shared important words from Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. It's time to develop a conservation strategy that balances our state's economic growth with a plan to protect our environment. And I want to applaud the state of Tennessee on the fact that they have identified 175 brownfield sites within the state for abatement and potential new opportunity. Well, we are doing that now here in the city of Natchez, and it was great to share that story at this conference. Thanks to our $492,000 federal brownfields grant the city received in 2021, we are on our way to bringing opportunity to several new brownfields. I want to thank the Adams County Board of Supervisors, for Natchez, Friends of the Riverfront for being partners. We've been targeting various areas and making great efforts. I want to thank Trey Hess, our consulting engineer with PPM Consultants, and James Johnson, our Director of Community Development, working tirelessly. Just to give you a few examples, we have completed 2 assessments at the MLK Triangle at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street and St. Catherine Street, including the removal of abandoned underground storage tanks that now paves the way for future development into what will be Hiram Rebels Plaza. Also, last spring, the city funded with this grant an assessment of a former brownfield, the former Mason Oil Company on Highway 61 South. That cleared development for the groundbreaking of a $12 million project that will soon be home to a new 27,000 square foot headquarters facility, and many, many new jobs are coming as a result of that. And we're so grateful. We have also completed phase 1 assessments at the old community hospital site, the former International Paper site, and the Fry building. We are now going to be seeing new opportunity come to those areas. And I will say that a grant application is currently pending for abatement of the hazards identified at the Fry building. It's important, and hopefully we will be able to obtain that grant so that we can abate that property, the hazards that are there, and make way for a new parking facility that will be part of the Yola project. And so we just want to thank everyone for working with us on that brownfield grant opportunity. And I want to thank again everyone who supported my ability to attend that conference and recognize and represent Natchez. Also, I want to give a brief report that I was not able to give at the last meeting on a very important visit that took place here on May the 2nd. And that was a visit with Dr. Frank Smith, who is a former DC City Councilman, a former worker in the front during the civil rights movement, who is currently now leading the national effort to bring recognition to African Americans who served in the Civil War. He is the founder and director of the Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., and the African American Civil War Museum. And he also, and there is Mr. Smith, he is also the one who is responsible for developing the U.S. Colored Troops Monument in our nation's capital. I want to thank Deborah Fontaine, who is a member of our committee and also a descendant of so many veterans who served our country in the Civil War. She is a direct descendant of 9 U.S. Colored Troops who served, and she's pictured there just behind me, just to the left of Mr. Robert Purnell, who is the chairman of our U.S. Colored Troops Committee. And that is a photo with individuals from Washington, D.C., who are on staff with Dr. Smith at the African American Civil War Museum, and also members of the chairpersons of the subcommittees that comprise our U.S. Colored Troops Committee. I want to just make this statement for the record. Going back to the summer of 2021, the History and Research Subcommittee, chaired by Ms. Fontaine, began outreach to Dr. Frank Smith in Washington, D.C. for his assistance in identifying names of the soldiers who served in the 6 U.S. Colored Troop regiments that were stationed at Fort McPherson in Natchez during the Civil War. And these discussions then led to more discussions, a meeting, and in reference of time, I can't go into many details other than to say at the close of 2022, we were able to make a visit to Dr. Smith's office there in Washington. Discussions have been taking place throughout this for the sharing of names, and we were able on May the 2nd, after so much work, to actually sign an agreement with Dr. Smith and the American Museum, the African American Civil War Museum, and U.S. Colored Troops Monument in Washington, D.C., to have access to all of the names that they have chronicled of those who served. These represent over 8,000 individuals who served from regiments here in Natchez, and these are names that will eventually be placed on our monument here in our city. And this is very significant because this will now provide a direct link between our monument and the monument at our nation's capital. And so I thank Ms. Fontaine, I thank Mr. Purnell, everyone on the committee, and I really want to thank Dr. Smith for making this historic opportunity happen. We now, for the first time in the history of Natchez, we have access to every name of every soldier who served our country during the Civil War as a member of the U.S. Colored Troops. And that document and agreement was signed right here where I'm sitting on May the 2nd. And I also want to say in attendance was a good friend of mine who is former Mayor Walker, Robert Walker of Vicksburg, who is responsible for just many years ago with Dr. Smith's help erecting a monument to the U.S. Colored Troops there to our sister city to the north, Vicksburg, Mississippi. I just had to get that on the record because it's too important and we can't gloss over it. Also, something very important that I want to mention, the Legends Concert will be coming, our city celebration for Juneteenth, and I have some information cards. It's going to be a great performance, not only with Dorothy Moore and others headlining, our own YZ Ely, Alvin Youngblood Hart, Alvin Shelby and the Legends Celebration Choir, and Ora Reed. But it will also be an opportunity for us to honor legends in our community who have done so much contributing to the history, musical history of our area. The Williams brothers, Walter Barnes, Cassandra Wilson, Hound Dog Taylor, Bud Scott, Daisy Newman, Larry Brown, Elizabeth Taylor Greenfield, and others. And we want to thank all of our sponsors for making this happen. And I'm just very grateful to Taco Bell and City of Natchez being the lead sponsors in making this happen. So make sure you put that on your calendar for June the 17th. Also, I want to remind everyone, Juneteenth is coming up quickly, and we will be having a day of unity, and that will be happening as always on Flag Day, which is June the 14th. It will be held at 5:30 p.m. at Zion Chapel, and it will be a community service as we've had in years past. We also traditionally have a kickback at NAPAC event on that Thursday evening of the week of Juneteenth. I look forward to that on Thursday, June the 15th. And also, we will be having, very likely, our second meeting of June. During the month of June, we always have our meeting at NAPAC, a regular meeting of the board. And so very likely our second meeting in June will not take place here, but it will take place at NAPAC. I just wanted to make sure we got that across while we're talking about Juneteenth. I want to give you an update on Racing of Silver Street. We have the funds, we have the plans. We actually now have a strategy for keeping Silver Street open to two-way traffic and utilizing Natchez Transit to bring tourists and locals and employees up and down the bluff, and also to accommodate the cruise boats during this construction project. All we are waiting on is to be able to sign final agreements with a property owner under the hill. And Mr. Slover, thank you for your work on that. And we're hoping that those documents will be signed soon so that we can, as the board has already voted to do, bid the project. Also, I do want to say thank you. We are taking under advisement the bids on Morgantown Road, but we did have a small meeting today where we looked at these bids in greater detail. We had individuals from the county and the city there, along with the engineer with IMS, and we are preparing for what we might have to do should the bids be shown after the county discusses them to be, as so many bids are coming in, higher than the funds that we have allocated. So we'll be working on that. I want to give a brief update on this because people have been asking me. We are proceeding with our plans to renovate the depot, and Johnny Waycaster, the architect in charge of the project, is very close to having the documents ready so that we can approve the final plans to move forward in restoring the depot, bidding the project, and utilizing grant funds that were awarded to us through the Department of Archives and History. Also, just as we have approved bidding now, the renovation of the Civic Center and the police department and the fire department, and that's fire departments plural, we now will soon be able to see the final punch list that is being suggested for renovations of the convention center and also the city auditorium. So just get ready. We are about to have a lot going on. Bids are still out also for our street renewal project, and we hope to have those soon and to close that bid process soon so that we can determine where we need to head. I also want to let you know that we expect not only a grant announcement very soon on the brownfield abatement project at the Fry Building, but also on our application for a raised grant to renew the corridor there from Forks of the Road through St. Catherine Street to Rebels Plaza. We call it our Forks to Freedom project. We have been advised that those grant announcements will come out in late June. Our lobbyist, former Congressman Greg Harper, has been working with our senators, because we are told that the Senate will have a lot of influence on the final decision. And so Councilman Harper has suggested that I accompany him to Washington June 6th, 7th for visits with the senators. At that time, I also will be requesting a meeting and have been in touch with Congressman Thompson's office and his chief of staff, Dr. Washington, and I spoke just the other day, and we are excited. We also are hoping that we can have other meetings, possibly with some administration officials, and I need your approval to travel to Washington for this very fast trip, June 6th to the 7th.
So moved.
Alderwoman Irving has made the motion. Do I have a second? Ben, thank you. Alderman Davis. Boy, you know it's getting late. Alderman Davis, I'm calling you Ben. And so here we are. Any discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll now proceed to a vote if there's no opposition to the call. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Thank you. That is a very competitive grant nationally and even within our state, but we're giving it our best shot. I do know I need to present to you a resolution. Every year as we prepare to go to the Mississippi Municipal League, we have to identify our voting delegates. Generally, it would be suggested that the mayor be the voting delegate and the mayor pro tem be the first alternate. Does this meet the approval of the Board of Aldermen?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion. We'll call for the question. Any opposed to the call? We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Also, I do want to make this announcement. Head Start MAP, Mississippi Action for Progress, is currently reaching out for enrollments for the next season of Head Start. It's a great program. There are flyers available at the mayor's office, and anyone wanting more information, contact us or contact the individuals identified on the flyer. We are very supportive of MAP, and we're very supportive of Head Start, and I want to thank Alderwoman Hall for participating recently in an exercise and promotion exercise there at Head Start, and your post was very, very good. Now, we also need to let everyone know that we will have a special call meeting Friday at 10 a.m. for a public hearing on code enforcement. We also will be very likely discussing further. Because we're up against a deadline for the renewal of our disposal contract at Greenway, this board voted to pursue a bid on that. However, it has been determined and advised to us by consultants that we need more time for that bid process to occur. But the attorney has informed us that under the laws of Mississippi, we can do a temporary agreement with either Greenway or with our local waste management landfill. And under state law, that is a temporary disposal service by contract not to exceed $75,000, which would give us a few months to then determine our strategy going forward with both landfill services and trash collection services for the city of Natchez. That will be discussed at the special call meeting on Friday. Everyone has been given a copy, thank you, Mr. Attorney, of letters that were sent to both Greenway and Waste Management seeking their short-term pricing. And we are hoping to have those offers submitted to the city by tomorrow so that we can discuss them on Friday. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Well, I was gonna make a comment. You didn't mention anything about who's gonna carry the flag. So one of our veterans, hopefully they would carry the flag down at
I think that's a
in the mail.
wonderful suggestion, and we'll let our veterans,
We got some strong
Alderman Davis and
We want you guys
Alderman Frazier,
represent well.
Alderman Davis and Alderman Frazier, y'all work out who will carry our flag.
That's
or
a city
who might-
flag, though.
It's a city flag, but
So
still,
anybody can carry it.
but still, we'd love to see our veterans do it.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great
I can't
thing.
stand that long.
I want to state this before we go to executive session. I do want to remind everyone that this is Memorial Day weekend coming up. It's a time to remember our veterans. And I think that it is important as we remember our veterans that we remember a veteran in particular that we were able to honor just recently as we visited his grave at the National Cemetery. The headstone of Buck Murphy. Buck Murphy, the ancestor of Lee W. Jackson, attorney at law in Washington, D.C., a board member of the African American Civil War Museum and a native of Natchez, and a former roommate of Alderman Frazier. We were able to visit that headstone of Buck Murphy, who was a gentleman who served during that Civil War time period. And he, along with so many others, veterans of all wars, deserve our respect and our honor during this time. But I wanted to mention him in particular because we had a very moving moment as we visited his grave on May the 2nd. At this time, I will now
We can do this. It's nothing that binds, the city at all.
Okay, let me just say, I'm going to acknowledge the city attorney for something that he has just
Dropped on your, I
dropped
apologize
on my desk.
for that. It's nothing binding on the city. The casino's refinancing some loans as the landlord. You're number one, certifying that it's in the proper zone. I pulled it, it's in the proper zone. They certified. And second thing is then a statement that they're current on their obligations within the lease. I asked Megan if they're current on their obligations in the lease. She said that they're current on their payments. So again, it's
Second.
Okay, motion has been made by Alderwoman Smith and seconded by Alderwoman Hall. I will just ask one question. Does this have to be, we do have a special call meeting Friday.
And can you provide us with a copy?
definitely need a copy. Go print a copy.
It's not, or, I mean,
I mean, I understand they have to have it,
just want to
but
make sure.
I get that, but,
It's very standard, looking over it. Our
I'll give
attorneys
you a copy
approved
of
it.
it. It's not what I said. It's kind of.
All right, we will ask that a copy be provided to all aldermen. We're looking at any alder person who wants to look at this
Call the
now.
question.
Okay, the question's been called. We'll move to a vote. Anyone opposed to the call? All right, move to a vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to go
So
into a
moved.
closed determination for our executive session to discuss reasons that we might have to have an executive session to discuss matters pertaining to personnel issues within our Parks and Recreation Department. All right, Alderwoman Hall, Alderman Davis made the motion. Alderwoman Smith has seconded that motion. Anyone want to discuss the motion? Call for the question. Any opposed to the call? We'll vote on the motion. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. We will give a report in just a moment.
It was determined that an item or two items did qualify for executive session. There's discussion of personnel issues in regards to the recreation director. And they're going to come out of the closed determination and entertain a motion for executive session. They opened the doors, it was public, it was unanimous vote to go to executive session under those items. So they stand in closed, or executive session.
Okay, I'll now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
the
moved.
Executive session.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion? Any opposed to the call? We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. We are now back in regular session. I will provide a report. We discussed items pertaining to personnel matters in the Recreation Department. No action was taken. And let the minutes show at the time in which we adjourned. I now will entertain a motion to allow Mr. Ryan Porter, the current Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Natchez, to from June 1st forward serve as acting interim director of the Department of Parks and Recreation.
So moved.
Second.
And that's at his current salary. All right, that motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion? We will call the question.
Called.
Well,
We'll proceed then. Anyone opposed to the call? Proceed to the vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Porter. We look forward to working with you in the interim, and thank you for being willing to do this for the City of Natchez. The second item that we want to discuss, I want a motion to open the position for applications effective June 1 at the current salary and job description under which current Director Sonora Cole has been operating.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderman Davis. Any discussion? We'll call for the question. Any opposed to the call? We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion
So
to
moved.
adjourn. Alderwoman Smith made the motion. Alderman Davis has seconded. We'll call for the vote. Any opposed to the motion? Hearing none,
Nay.
stand adjourned. Thank you so much.